Roberts has been a real one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And obviously,
Caldwell's a big loss.
He is a big loss, yeah. But they are developing their younger midfield. So we spoke about Brad a few minutes ago, and that's been a focus coming into the pre-season. They just feel as if it just hasn't been strong enough the best part of 15 years, really. So hopefully this young midfield can keep developing together with that man there guiding them.
It's exciting seeing Isaac Capper in the flesh for the first time. We've watched him, of course, on our screens. Haven't done the Bombers live yet, so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be fantastic.
That's a head. So Max scored with the first little mini win of the night. They're going to kick down to the Riverbank stand end, which is full of hopeful Demon and Bomber fans. And as we said, what a wonderful sight this has been night after night. And patrolling the boundary lines, I think it's his first appearance in Gather Round so far, at least on the Fox Footy cameras. It's a big welcome to Nick Del Santa.
Good evening, hello, good evening, boys. Look, absolutely perfect conditions down here at ground level. Don't be surprised it gets a little bit slippery underfoot as the night goes on. A fantastic crowd. They have packed this place out to watch this intriguing game of football. Between the Bombers, just the one win, and the D's still trying to find their first 4 points. As you speak about the D's, and you boys just spoke to Brad Scott, the coach of the Bombers, he spoke about that midfield of that young group trying to make their way. If I'm the D's and I'm a midfielder, this is your night. A lot of questions have been asked about this group, and I think rightly so. When you have the reputation and the history of dominating contested possession and clearances, you need to stand up, and tonight is where you need to stand up. Starts with these boys in the middle. Dawn, Barney, Petrarca, Oliver. But I'm also looking at Sparrow and Rivers, who are their support cast. When you have that depth, you cannot concede clearances, you cannot concede scores against an area that they have controlled and dominated, particularly when they were the previous go back a handful of years. Boys, it is all set up for a spectacular night of football here at Adelaide Oval.
Mr. Petrarca goes to the goal square, so he's going to start out the full forward spot. Big Sammy Draper has been in good goal kicking form right the other end of the ground.
So it's a bit of a contrast, guys. The Bombers are relatively giants compared to the Demons, who have gone smaller with turnaround of the team.
Yeah, they haven't got any Van Ryan and mid-size and smalls. Here we go.
Here we go indeed. It's Essendon versus Melbourne. Bombers a chance to go 2-2. And Melbourne just desperate to get a victory in season 2025. Oliver able to get the hand pass to Viney, and centre field is taking his duties very, very carefully there.
A big job for Nick Bryan tonight on Max Gawn, obviously been in fantastic form. Max over the journey. He needs to stand up tonight, Nick, so Draper can stay forward.
Shield to Martin and then back to McGrath. Went way past Kako.
So Zach Merritt's inside forward 50 at the moment. Tommy Sparrow's gone straight to him. Sparrow had the job on Holmes last week. They manipulated that a bit, the Cats. We'll see how this works out, but Sparrow to Merritt, huge.
100th game tonight for Tom Sparrow, so congratulations to him. Just be desperate to honour it with a victory. Thomas beaten for it this time by Viney. Sends it up to the wing. Van Rooyen in the crush. Plenty of flyers. Melksham was one. McGrath did well to get it to Bryan. Put pressure immediately on Ridley. He's cool and calm enough, and so is Martin and Mackay. So good chain of hands out to Reid. Keeps the switch going to Gresham. And safely through. They can keep feeding it through Pryor. Now out to the wing, where the mark is taken by the impressive Roberts. Up along the wing, that kick though left a bit to be desired. Petty, Kako, the soccer, Salem. Nice collect, Petty, didn't rush. Able to feed the handball back to Lindsay, and then Petty. They're being cornered here though. McDonald hesitated on the handball. Roberts and Viney, two tough nuts, and a bit of holding going on. The free kick going away at the experienced team.
Watched the bullet there, got pushed back really hard and just about turned the footy over in their back half.
Bowie had to be very good on the kick. He's aided by the umpire. Spargo, who had limited time in his 100th game last week.
So Ridley's loose.
Talk about loose, that's what the kick was. We're going to try and rectify the situation, but another poor handball. Draper to Maris. What is going on out there? Sends it straight back over. May's kick is wide, and then Shield drops the mark.
I saw this afternoon some footy that wasn't quite at the level, and
they must have been in their hotel rooms watching it.
That was about 25 seconds of stuff that no one wants to see.
It was at the VFL game, the earlier game at 1 o'clock.
Well, yeah, some bad turnover footy then.
Gorn just jolted the handball clear. Fell for McGrath. Just the 9 disposals last start. Very low number for him. Beautifully taken by Draper.
Yeah, that match up against Tom McDonald there.
So Jones and Caddy are the two deep forwards as the Bombers look to go hard and wide. Durham's kick was perfect. And Jones it is that slides in and hangs onto the mark right up against the line.
Yeah, it's good. It was good by Caddy and Jones, just the separation there. So Caddy came back up the middle. Jones went to the pocket. Probably the tougher kick now for Jones. Good finish.
Yeah, you're right, Draper, Caddy, Jones, tall, but good ball movement then. And Jones' work rate was fantastic. Stephen May just too big a leg rope.
The crowd behind, you've got Adelaide and Port fans sitting next to each other. That's all part of gather round. So Jones, sometimes a wingman, started as a forward. This occasion, he's up front, but unfortunately he misses to the right.
So a sort of chain of uncontested marks there for Essendon, which was Geelong's MO last week. So going to put some pressure on Melbourne.
It's a good run and dash. Now himself involved as the Blues play. And suddenly melts from the former Bomber. Here's an early chance for Van Rooyen falling back with Mackay. Hands where needed.
Well, that's the one, Brownie, that we're talking about. It's running back hard to goal, and your kick needs to be longer and longer, and it allows Mackay to get there. That's where you'd like to see him hit up every now and then.
Well, either hit up, or if you're going to make contact, make it about 5 metres early.
Yeah.
You know, at least initiate that contact. Don't let the defender come back into your marking space.
Reed, plenty of tall timber. It came off Gorn. Good reflexes at the front of the pack by Langford. It has a lovely left foot. Chandler. Team's reasonably well spaced. There's depth on the kick. Van Rooyen almost got through Pickett. On the line, but the whistle signalling before.
I see Jacob Van Rooyen as a launcher too. So when he launches the ball, he looks really good. So in that situation, launch yourself up into the air. Create some uncertainty for the defender. So maybe he gives away the free kick instead of you giving away the free kick, trying to go to the body all the time.
Setterfield has got the job on Clayton Oliver.
His first game this season, Will Setterfield. Off the Redmond, he's got right underneath that kick. Nelson's going to fly from the side, which he's quite capable of doing. But the spoils go Essendon's way. Martin and McGrath, and eventually it is Zach Reed. He just strokes the ball beautifully to Martin, who kept on coming.
He just give that space, very good Hutto there. He did, it was very smart and on the same page.
Draper's run all the way down to the goal square, but they just held up a fraction. It's Durham again. Needs to be convinced. See the doubt on his face. So he goes along and he goes to Draper. Caddy's in the mix, but Gorn at his powerful best.
Yeah, that's much more like the Max Gorn at his 7-time All-Australian best.
Again, kicks out to Melbourne. So one of the problems with being smaller is who's going to be their kicks on the way out for Melbourne. Shield takes it and realises there's a clear way forward. And again, on the end of it is a lanky Jones.
Much better. You don't kick long enough in their defenders. Max Gorn was back there as a 3v2. That was a lot smarter there. Good decision by Shields. Been criticised for his kicking, but that was very good.
Yeah, it's great call, Brandon. You lower the eyes, you see what's happened previously, and then you make the adjustment. Jones has been able to find space.
So he's had a go from the boundary line. This is a much clearer path to goal. Harrison Jones, just the 1-goal-1 coming in tonight. From the 3 games, got a fair piece of that. Couldn't have hit it much better than that. The celebrations begin for the Essendon fans. First goal is on the board, and the Bombers have a 6-point lead. 6 minutes in.
So, just early days, but there's been inside 50 count at the moment, 3-2. Now, Essendon been inside 3 times. They've taken 2 uncontested marks. Melbourne have been inside twice and given 2 free kicks away from long bombs to the goal square. So there's the contrast in what we're seeing. Really good adjustment made by Dylan Shield.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You've got to take it early. Take your opportunities early, guys. Go back and nail it from outside 50. It's confidence builder for him. So let him start the season on the wing.
Yeah.
Obviously now push forward. Back into that customary role. He started his career out at Essendon.
8-4 uncontested marks in favour of the Bombers early.
Ryan continues to ruck in the middle. See the early tackle count. 5-0.
15th pressure team in the competition, Melbourne, at 139, a rating of 139 in the 4th quarter.
Last access for Brian, tapped it to Rivers, so he's getting a chance in the middle. Tries to make the most of it, driving straight down on the path towards goal. Pickett denied access. McGrath, good pressure from French, kept it bubbling. Spargo chance for Cozzy, but he's behind it.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, so pressure's been a real issue for them. But if you allow uncontested marks to opposition teams, you struggle to get a pressure rating up, and you can't pressure the opposition. So it was a big issue last week. Essendon clearly have gone to work on it.
Bit of pressure on the chewy for Simon Goodwin. Nice clean take from Big Draper. He's come off the ground. Up to half forward. Jumping from Perkins back into the team tonight. Flipped it out the back, Bowie. For Caddy. James shuffled it out, but disrupted this time by the Demons. Like Spargo topples over. Durham's been pivotal. That's McGrath. Already 7 disposals. Let's see Brian's foot skills for a big guy. It's pretty good in the end. Merritt gave the handball to Perkins. Told him to go close to goal, but Hobbs has skied it. Opportunity for Caddy. Juggling Mark Minty. Followed up and snapped the goal.
Yeah, very good. Energy by Essendon's been good early. They're winning the tackle count, 7-1. Been able to get that into the forward line. Good aerial contest ahead of the ball. So they just keep that ball alive. Obviously take their opportunities. It's interesting. I like the Jones-May matchup a bit. I'm not sure whether May's going to be able to run with him. You know, obviously May's going to let him go at times, but that's been a good start positionally. He's obviously had an impact.
Have a look at that, Brownie, because he has been so important. I think it's Kenny. So May had Draper, so they might have got caught in the crossover a couple of times.
Well, he started running the last set of bounce though, so I just wonder, obviously May's, he's their linchpin back there, isn't he? So just to wonder though if Jones will start moving around on him.
Yeah, well that's too easy. So 7-1 tackles in favour of the Bombers. Pressure up early. Great start.
John Menzies originally from South Adelaide in the SANFL. Still, it's gone Bryant. The umpire might have to rebounce.
Yeah, so you're right. May's got Jones out of just old-fashioned centre-half forward, if you like. And McDonald's gone to Draper in the goal square.
Pickett coming out of the goal square at the other end. We're reset again. Gone clear tap into the path of Oliver after a stumble and then couldn't handle the ball cleanly. So going nowhere. And again, Mira up to be part of it. The turn from Petrarca. Had them bewitched for a moment, but again, they can't get the clean exit.
Second worst clearance team in the competition, Melbourne. It's staggering. Defeats astonishing when you look at what's in there. Maybe we're basing it on reputations.
Gone single-handedly that time. Rivers squirts out to Martin, who was already spending it. Langdon, depth on the kick. Pickett removed the immediate opposition. Found it underneath. That might get things started for the Demons. The tongue's out already from Cozzy.
Well, that's great. They punished the opposition, punished them for a mistake. It was Martin on the wing, who's normally very clean. Very rarely you see a fumble like that goes straight through his feet. And well, this man, obviously him being back in the side, they're a hell of a lot more potent in front of the ball.
Yeah, look, you're trying to work out a way where they go forward where there's a bit more imagination, but it's been pretty one-dimensional at the moment. It's just attack the top of the square and then hopefully Cozzy Pickett in this instance can provide some magic. There's no great change in the way they go about this, and he was just able to do some early body work, and you know, he's like a cat. His recovery is outstanding. So we always say don't be 6'4" to play full forward.
An early body work though, wasn't it?
Was, yeah.
Oh, we're talking about Van Ryan.
Yeah, that is.
He showed him. That's marking technique from a little fella.
Big shot for Archie Roberts, isn't it?
He is, yeah.
I don't reckon he would have been playing in a goal square as a full-back too often. So from that point of view, the matchup's okay. You're probably giving a bit of space and see if you can make the young man who's had a great start with the year, Archie Roberts, a bit nervous.
The boys, Nick Bryan has just come from the ground. He's limped, so while that ball was going forward for the D's, he came from the centre square bounce and has just made his way to the bench now.
Thank you, Dal. So Draper in the right to take on Gorn. Hobbs goes crashing down under a Viney tackle. There is Nick Bryan. Pretty unconvincing in his gait. So
It's going to throw things around because we're at the start of the game well as a forward.
Martin read the soccer off the ground from Sheila. Gets involved in the chain via Draper. Pretty well constructed. Oh, the intersection was ready for a crash, wasn't it? Durham turns onto the left. He had faith in it, but Petty just step ahead.
Yeah, good Sam Durham. I mean, neither of them took a short step or took their eyes off it, but you just knew when he was going that it would be a collision or a contest, one or the other. And Petty had eyes on it, probably thought he was going to get there, but Durham, he's a phenomenal competitor.
And they're the worst ones. When you know they're 20 metres out, you're going to be into a big clash.
Go on, it's all comers, not Hobbs though. Gets the kicker out, it's coming back, but not quite enough as it rails the woodwork. Sprightly stuff from Hobbs, who's trying to make the most of his chances. Played his 50th game last start. Yeah, Stephen May, only deemed to get coaches' votes last week. Takes it short to Petty. Just places the kick, a reasonably aggressive line to Pickett. Front and centre, Viney, good support. Sparrow fired the forward handball to Spargo. Pickett a second time in this phase. Kicks for Fritz. He's got Melsham in the goal square. The fumble, though, allows Essendon to balance out the numbers. And Fritz was having a tough time getting hold of the footy.
It's Cosy Pickett or bust right now for Melbourne. He's doing everything. That kick to him at half-back was as dangerous as you'd want. He's good enough to make something of it. The Fritz double grab cost them a goal. Had players out everywhere.
Ridley with a handoff. Reid had to be convinced, so that is Dursman's decision. Back to Ridley again, where we started. That's a fiercer kick and a good one too. Gets quickly to the captain. Nonchalant little give to Dursman. Played plenty of footy here for Port Adelaide. And he puts it on a platter for Menzies, who already has a goal under his belt.
They're lowering the eyes coming inside 50. That's when they've looked the best, Essendon. Some conscious of those intercept marking defenders for Melbourne.
Melbourne conscious of a little handoff potentially there.
3 uncontested marks inside 50 from 6 entries. It's a terrific way to go forward.
Upgraded from number 47 this year to 29, which is always a good sign. And the shoulder reconstruction. He's fully fit and ready to give it plenty from just outside 50. Draper behind goal.
So it's a good sign for Essendon, Brownie. You've had 6 entries. You've been able to find 3 uncontested marking targets.
Yeah, that would have been the plan coming in. They're now to execute it.
And his placement wasn't perfect, but good enough in the end for Lindsay. Yeah, keep it short and Windsor to provide that dash, but until they ran into Darren, who's doing everything at the moment.
You love playing with him, wouldn't you?
There's the saying, he runs to the fire. Sam Durham.
He runs through the fire, I reckon.
He does. He just went straight at Windsor. That's what his job is, to provide some run and carry.
Halfway through the opening term. Lower scoring affair than we've seen the previous 2 nights. Hobbs turns onto the left. Kako got it.
Pressure at 207 here for Essendon is another great sign from early.
Rolls and gets it into the square. And Merritt, he's marked it, but surely that's over the line. That's been paid.
That is an extraordinary mark. Looked like he was juggled over the line. We'd have to see it again to see whether the ball actually left his hand.
Little hand off to Gresham, who gets it between the wrong posts.
Going to call it back here.
It's going to be a throw in, I think.
Is that a call play on?
There's an overall.
There's a call play on.
I think for the first time.
I'd say don't think they played the way.
Well,
A bit of confusion here.
yeah.
I think the right decision was made in the end.
Ruckman come out at Van Rooyen versus Jones. Kako to Hobbs. Realised he could plant the foot and get enough torque on the footy. And they are doing all the talking at the moment, the Bombers.
We had a sign. A few moments ago, he had that right foot from the exact same spot. Wasn't able to kick it. The other side already nailed it that time, so stopping has been very good early. So 6-3 in favour of Essendon. Need to sort this out. Gary mentioned before just how dominant Melbourne have been. Well, we thought they were, but they've actually been the 17th clearance team in the competition since 2024, which is quite unbelievable when you look at the personnel. So you've got some dangerous small forwards here, though. Obviously, Kako involved. Good finish by Hobbs.
Shakes has a real problem, doesn't it? And a great advantage for Essendon here, 6-3. And every single clearance you look at, they are much more dangerous. They're on the move, they're mobile. This is the injury for Nick Bryan that Nick Delshano told us about. So, what's he indicating here? Knee, maybe. So it does mean that they're going to have to change things around a bit. Draper started the game at full forward. But they've started well here, Essendon.
Salah Hooley as the Bombers electrified them when he came on in the last game. Bombers out of the middle too. Well orchestrated by Merritt. He finds Martin and runs forward, but there's a different path to go. Lindsay certainly up and about and vibrant. Kicks to Merritt, so he ran the 45 instead of towards goal. One more connection piece required.
She'll reading the hand of the ruckman beautifully. Early threat clearances.
Goes to Draper. Oh, dropped it. And then so did McDonald. Appeals are made under all sorts of pressure. The team would somehow get out of it.
So here's the MO for Essendon in a nutshell. 17 uncontested marks to 5 and 7-3 clearances. So they're spread away from the stoppage when they win it. Outstanding. Melbourne trailing in all over the ground.
Bowie gives it a thump out to the wing. Redmond flew but didn't make connection to free. He's going to come back to Bailey Fritsch.
Yeah, it's clearly a strategy, guys. Essendon's uncontested marks because they haven't been high this year in their games.
Fritsch and Pickett. So who's going to kick the goals with that up the ground? Is it going to be Viney? No, Reed. Put pay to that. Maybe it's Petrarca. He glanced outside the 50. In the end, he kicked it inside. Wasn't a bad option, but the Bombers through Roberts might be able to come away. Lindsay a long way from home. Reached it up well. Shield just being able to avert the danger here. Hard running from Roberts. Martin. Keeps it. Oh, Mensa. What a start he's had.
He's been magnificent. This clearance issue for Melbourne remains, and the way they go forward remains. It doesn't appear to see that much has changed.
Sparrow can defend here. Through the middle to Pickett. He's the fulcrum for most of their moves forward so far. Together with Petrarca. Melksham is the longest target. Can he go up against Redmond and take a clean grab? No, is the answer to that. Reed Scout comes away and goes long to Ken.
It's 10 really clean opportunities, Melbourne, into half chances.
It's a bit of the same old story, isn't it? Petrarca runs the interference to Pickett. Bowie able to get the hand pass across to Langford.
Langford's the umpire now. He had Viney 20 metres in front of him. We're just not seeing it at the moment.
Reed going in confidence to centre field. And again, the Bombers getting dangerous players goal side. Gresham. Perkins came up for the lead. He goes longer to Caddy.
Oh, he's in trouble. He got injured here. He's in all sorts.
Yes, he limps. Well, he looks good.
I believe he's off for surgery. He looks to be in all sorts of trouble, Stephen May, right now.
Well, Gaz, there's a little bit of movement on the bench, and it's on the Bombers' side. So Nick Bryant hasn't returned from the rooms after we saw that knee injury, and Al Hooley is now warming up on the boundary line. So no official handover just yet in regards to that sup, but it looks like it is about to happen.
Sharps this up for Melbourne just in case. Bombers attacking. Gresham had a look, but couldn't get the foot to match. Better run in with Henderson.
Next phase is the issue here. So the inside 50 counts 10-8. Melbourne been inside 58 times, Brandon. I reckon they've looked dangerous once. It's been predictable, it's been long, unimaginative, and they've got an issue on their hands here.
The thing is, the frustrating thing is they've looked dangerous coming through the centre of the ground. Like Hutto said before, it's the next part of it. Really concerned.
Pickett's had 6 kicks for Melbourne, and most of them have been right up in the middle of the ground. Again, they've unfortunately butchered the ball. Easy pickings for the Essendon defence from Mackay and McGrath and Shield. And they've gone from one side to the other. Now Ridley, his ambitions rising, came along the wing, kept the eyes low, finds Kako, waiting for some movement. There's nothing really to see. That bold, great self-confidence he could get around, take care of what was in his path. No note for Caddy. Free kick to Melbourne. Donald powered the kick over the head of Petrarca though.
What I'd like to end of the ball, it'll be hard to see at home, but just the Essendon forwards, even though they're younger, they're spreading the Melbourne defenders around. Here's May's injury. I thought it happened before then. It's a big concern.
He's on the foot, yeah.
For the cute little connection with Viney.
Sorry.
That's right.
Saw James Harms go down the first 5 minutes today. The Bulldogs go with a foot injury.
And Brody Kemp as well for Carlton. Suspected Achilles. So here's Rivers. Oh, just out of the reach of Petrarca. So near. It's been the case so many times. Fridge with Petrarca and Pickett on the outside, waiting with high expectations. Oliver. No impact in the opening term. Shield with a handball. Langford. Back to Petrarca. He was headed downstairs there. Shield. All of a sudden he's popped back upstairs, Petrarca. Back on his feet. Pickett. Filter once, filter twice. Now Oliver. Captured immediately. It's so heavy going for Melbourne at the moment. We're going to get another chance though. With Bowie's boot to Rivers. Might be worth a long shot the way they're going.
Yeah, well, there's no other methodology here. As we said, we don't harp on it, but their last, well, the 4 games this year, they've kicked 11 goals, 9 goals, 8 goals and 6 goals in a game. It looks like this, Brownie, that there's some sort of barrier to putting it through the big sticks here.
Just the 2 goals last year, Trent Rivers. His lowest disposal total in over 12 months last week with 13, but he's getting some time in the middle tonight. He'd love to add a long goal to all of that. He's given it his absolute best and just fallen short. Another near miss. Ridley not waiting. Kenny. Settles and drives. For a long one. In the end, there was a couple there. Perkins looks so smooth when he gets the ball and balanced. Gresham the give, Shield. His confidence growing all the time. And so Essendon. Tara prepared to take the wide one, I think, because of who it was, rather than where it was. It was Martin off to Roberts, who just rolls and kicks towards goal. Multiple hands, Menzie. Appetite growing for him. And he comes away. Wilson v McGrath. Wilson, nice pick up at ground level. Viney has space. Can they utilise it this time? They're 2-on-1 against the head, so has to be absolutely perfect with the kick.
Again, it just doesn't seem to be any system, and this is what would be frustrating for Melbourne supporters, is that, as Brownie's pointed out, it's 11 to 12 inside 50. Now, from Essendon's 12 insides, they've had 3, they kicked 3 goals forward. We've seen uncontested marks. Melbourne's style of going forward is unidentifiable. It's 2-on-1 Petrarca, and it's either Petrarca or Pickett, and then see what happens.
Corn grabbed it. Petrarca went one way, Viney the other. From the corner, Viney's kick. And through again.
And Hutto Stephen May trying his very best to warm that foot up. He's taken the boot off. He's been in deep discussion with the doctor and the physio. It looks like he'll like to head down into the rooms for further assessment.
Fair element of danger in that kick in. Thank you, Dowlers. The Bombers, though, able to dodge. Kick back into the middle from Redmond. Gave Salem an opportunity. He's put the handle very high. Perkins, Gresham, they ran the disruption pretty well. Kakko. The handoff advantage, yes, no. What is? There was a lot of change of mind in the end. Menzie skied the kick.
Gee, they've had opportunities too, Essendon. When they get out in the clear space, they've got numbers everywhere.
It's so much more dangerous going forward now.
Their ball use, well, they're both kick efficiency's up around 70%, but their ability to find a target on the way through has been impressive.
Lead by 13.
I think the difference is goes 13 inside 50s for Essendon for 7 shots. With Melbourne, 11 inside 50s for 4 shots.
And that sub has been made by the Bombers, so Al Hooley now is on the ground.
Take it down. Corn, just, there's nothing he liked at all. Bombers come from every angle to spoil. Melksham was left to be the flyer. McGrath throws the handball away. Redmond feeding it back. Fritsch sensing an opportunity, but Roberts was in command. Martin, Al Hooley gets involved in a little triangle handball drill up against the line. Martin involved in many things, and so is McGrath. Full rush though, Setterfield, gone. To Rivers. The hunger's there for the Bombers, but they couldn't trap them that time. So Langdon, that's come off the hit step and almost gave them their best shot at goal. The youngsters combining. Langford and Lindsay, but Excellent result.
The most dangerous entry was a miss kick.
That is absolutely right. It went to a spot that Essendon defenders didn't think it was going to go. They've been defending sort of 10 to 15 metres out where all the long kicks are gone. That one went off the instep, and all of a sudden they're caught on the back foot. They have been, the last 3 or 4 minutes, been a bit better from a Melbourne point of view. They've closed down the uncontested mark situation to 20 to 32, which is getting right out of control. And their pressure in the forward half's been okay.
Essendon has had 121 disposals in the first quarter. Huge number. Dylan Shields had 12. And they're feasting, at least from a number point of view. Setterfield comes away. Uses Draper to get a little further along the line. And then for Perkins, he gets the side on over his head.
So the Stephen May injury does put a lot of pressure on McDonald, who's really now got the job ahead of him. He's been the second player in the competition for intercept possessions and the number 1 rated defender so far. So he's now got a lockdown on Caddy. He's got Petty for some support. Put some pressure in the back half.
After the ruck wrestle, 33 seconds remaining.
The clearance 8-5, so that's just even up marginally. They've missed some gilt-edged opportunities, the Bombers, and that's why the margin's now to 12 points. Could be a bit more.
He's had a big quarter, Dylan Shield, 12 disposals, 4 clearances. He was ball well too. It's got to be happy with the way things are going so far.
1 win in 7 games between these two sides coming in tonight. Bombers have played 1 less, so they can actually even the ledger at 2 all. If they're able to win tonight. They made a good start. It does feel from a competition point of view, there's quite a lot of sides in that bottom 6 or 7 of the hard to know the bottom.
It's more than a team so far this year. When you get going, certainly some urgency.
Carrying a big ruck load. The ball spinning on its head there for a moment. She takes right of way to Roberts. Now Setterfield. Only 5 seconds remaining. Merritt has to be quick. Trying to float the hand pass. Second go. Clock might beat him here. So quarter time. Just the 1 goal for Melbourne. Essendon. Both sides really with opportunities they couldn't take. But Essendon has a 12-point advantage. Both with injury concerns. But we get to quarter time, a chance to take a breath on another warm, breathless night in Adelaide. I tell you what, it's been a great gather round so far. But what about the Sunday for you? This is how it's going to come to its conclusion. Port Adelaide versus Hawthorn in the Rundle Rumble.
All right, folks, here we go. It's Essendon, quarter time leading Melbourne. 3-4-22 leading the Melbourne Demons, 1-4-10. Certainly did look like Essendon were a little bit in control of this game. Melbourne sort of got a little bit of run going back late, but couldn't find their targets up forward. That is something Melbourne is certainly struggling to do, is find their targets. Essendon definitely looking a little bit more dangerous going inside forward 50. But this should be a pretty good game going down to the wire, I would imagine. Shout out to Tina Bem Bems in the live chat. And of course, everyone listening in to the game tonight, Melbourne versus Essendon. I hope your team wins. By the way, folks, if you want to vote who you think's going to win the game, we've got the poll going there. So far, we've got 60% saying the Essendon Bombers for this game. Let's just have a look at the ins and outs of these teams. We didn't get the chance to do that prior. Let's have a look at Melbourne. Coming in for Melbourne was Xavier Lindsay. Going out was Daniel Turner. The sub, Harry Sharp. Of course, just the one milestone game here tonight, and that's Tom Sparrow playing his 100th for Melbourne. For Essendon, coming in is Settlefield and Archie Perkins. Going out, Jai Corbell, Thomas Edwards. Of course, the sub is Saad El Hawi, who's not a bad runner, I must say. All right, let's just go and have a quick look at the players' stats and the goal scorers. Goal scorers, Pickett, the only goal scorer for Melbourne, and of course for the Bombers, Menzies, Jones and Hobbs, all singles. Disposal count, well, Dylan Shields started off on a flyer off the first quarter, 14 disposals. Yo-wee, imagine if he keeps going that. That's going to be a big game of possessions for him. He's looking in for a good one. 7-7. He's had 2 marks, 5 clearances. What a quarter. Andy McGrath, and Nick Martin best next on 11 disposals. Archie Roberts on 9. Zach Merritt down there on 8 possessions for the opening quarter. Let's have a look at Jack Viney for Melbourne. He's had 7 touches, 6 kicks, a handball, 1 mark, 2 tackles, a clearance, and 1 behind. Maxi Gawn, the big man, he's going all right. 7 touches, 2 kicks, 5 handballs. He's had 8 hit-outs, the big boy. So he's going all right there for the Melbourne Demons. Christian Petrarca, a little bit slow first quarter. He had the opportunity to gather the ball and have a ping, but fumbled the ball over the line, unfortunately. Hopefully we see him getting into the game and having a cracking game. Also, it'd be great to see the champ get back and running. He's just had the 5, 2 kicks, 3 handballs for him. Let's just roll down a little bit more. Clayton Oliver, again, a little bit slow in the first opening quarter, just for the 4 handballs for Clayton. I'm sure he'll come into the game at some stage. Archie Perkins there with just the 3 touches. Who else have we got? That's about it. Nate Caddy there for the Bombers. Just the 2 touches. 2 kicks. He's had a couple of marks and also a tackle. Just have a quick look at the team disposals. As we thought, Essendon a little bit in control here. 40-odd disposals up already after the first quarter. 19 kicks, 22 handballs. Inside 50, both teams getting their opportunity, as I said. It's a bit of an open, free-flowing game. 13 inside 50s apiece. 5 scoring shots for Melbourne. 7 scoring shots for the Bombers. Free kicks, 5 for 2. 2 in favour of Melbourne. Not a great deal happening there. The hit-out's pretty tight and square. The clearances, Essendon +4. Centre clearances, 1 apiece. Stoppage clearances +4 also to Melbourne. Uncontested possessions. Essendon, as I said, controlling the ball a little bit. 34 up on there. That's a fair gap. Melbourne want to peg that back. They want to actually have ball in hand, controlling their ball a little bit if possible, and slow Essendon's run. I think Melbourne will be pretty happy where they sit at the moment. Only 2 goals behind Essendon. Essendon, I would expect, we'll see them continue on what they're doing. All right, that's a little bit of enough of the stats, folks. Let's get back down to the ground, and they'll take us into the bounce of the ball for the second quarter, whereas the Bombers by 12 points.
House. So they're getting a great look at this performance from the Bombers, as is Nick Del Santo. Plenty going on down there now.
Absolutely, Hutto. Well, despite some of those passages of play and some of the fumbles, it is still perfect conditions down here at quarter time in this huge game. Now, I'm just overhearing the D's, so I've been able to get to about 15-20 metres away, and they're still in a huddle, the forwards in particular. Troy Chaplin, the coach of the forwards, very animated and very loud and clear by saying, you need to run. I'm looking at your work rate. You need to connect better. So what we're looking at is that forward 50 entries, but it's also on the forward's responsibility, not just the person kicking the football. So that's clearly an area that we have identified this first quarter, as has the coaching staff of the D's.
Bomber game plan, on the other hand, was pretty easy to identify. Clearance, wing, spread. There's May. If May comes back, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to play him out of the goal square forward. I'm talking about either. I don't know how many times they tell them not to bomb. They're going to keep bombing the ball by the looks of things. So get some competitive people in the air down there. Maybe it's Stephen May. But Essendon game plan, win the clearance, spread really aggressively, uncontested marks, Brownie, and it's worked well.
That's right. This man, because he looks like you're not going to move for Melbourne. Good job there for Andy McGrath to try and call his influence.
Yeah, so he's gone back to Kelsey Pickett, their only goal kicker in the first quarter. Into the second turn then. And Gord takes it on himself. Gets it in swiftly. Fritz has worked under it nicely by Reed. Chandler. Back to Fritz. Able to keep it alive again, Chandler. But how hard is it to... Well, Viney was able to take it off Rivers. Showed some nice little moves there. Merritt, though. All in. Back to McGrath. The kick partially disrupted, which allows Gord to pick it up. He slams it towards full forward. Mackay just able to break away. Sparrow desperately trying to get a goal in his 100th game. McGrath. Shield. Possession number 15, would you believe? Back to the wing, left behind by Durham, but Gresham was there not far away. Jones just trying to work out the method here as they bide a bit of time, trying to secure the ball going forward. Hobbs.
It's a great choice, that kick, because down the line they're really badly outnumbered, so rather than blaze away and hand the footy back, buy some time, get some even numbers forward of the ball.
Hobbs with a goal in the first quarter, brings it into the middle of the ground. to Ridley. It's a statue. The kick was that good. Didn't have to move a muscle. So to Reid.
Melbourne have all collapsed back. So Max Gawn deep in defence, sitting in the hole. And this is the patience of Essendon.
Caddy comes leading up, but well anticipated by Bowie. The second best interceptor so far this year.
Now you've got to go slow because you've got so many numbers in your back half.
Their best interceptor in McDonald. Selfie on the way out to Penny. Crowd getting impatient. Ball goes back to Penny. It's the slowest to play, but it's effective this time. There's a bit of life ahead. Rivers took it from Salem. Then up to the wing to French. Pickett waiting desperately for the footy down the line. Langford off the left. He's given a lot of air, and the reach was with McGrath. Just tried to paddle it. Pickett stayed up. Petrarca was wrong-sided. Now he's okay with the right boot. Top of the square. Roberts. It's out.
Yeah, the instruction by Simon Goodwin was, let's build our play up. Let's get the uncontested marks. Just take a breather. We saw this in the GWS game in the first round, and they were very good at this part of the game. So he just needs a constant reminder to his team.
Simon Goodwin at ground level now. Gone. Chandler tried to bust through. Pickett the biggest threat.
Well, and the other threat that Melbourne, one of the others at the moment is Max Gawn. He's been enormous. So we know that Brian's off the ground, injured, Draper's going to ruck, but he has had a massive impact, Max Gawn.
Dersma stripped of it, 3 Ds. Langdon, the hand pass back to Viney, forced back. Rivers to the inside, Salem. Just, Langdon, that might be 50. Yes.
Great, low the ice, so it's going to be on here.
Well, they don't want to give it away. They've been hard to come by, so fly the flag by all means, but we'll quickly kick the goal here, Langdon, before they take it off you. So they don't mind a bit of spirit.
Melbourne's second goal. Kick by Ed Langdon. It was their leading disposal winner tonight.
Well, I reckon the last 5 minutes of the last quarter, the first quarter wasn't too bad and much more competitive from a Melbourne point of view, and they started this second quarter better as well. Viney's played with a bit of vigour. He's never going to be your most polished player, but he's set a bit of a standard early in the piece. Gawn's been great. And that kick you alluded to, Brownie, don't blaze away. See if you can hit someone up inside forward 50.
Martin's the transgressor.
The better response. A great signs early from Melbourne. Clearly this been an instruction by Simon Goodwin would emphasise that. Being able to get the uncontested marks. I think they might be up to 10 uncontested marks early in this second quarter, before the quarter. So that's a great sign. Just makes the Essendon defenders have to think about it. Just drags them up, creates some opportunities over the back potentially.
Won both clearances for the quarter to Melbourne.
So Melbourne's showing some fight. Back to 6 points. Gawn again front and centre, but the rebound's required.
So Rivers in the centre square, Merritt and Viney, Shields and Petrarca.
It's Petrarca that prevails. Essendon defence under pressure again. Van Rooyen, Mackay does enough. Pickett can't get there because Roberts beats him to it. Slides it out, Langdon, or the boundary. Throw it in.
Just want to turn like Viney, just pushing over to Merritt. Not sure whether they've swapped that tag or not, Gaz. Sparrow started there.
Yeah, I think they're just going to let Sparrow play. Looks like Bowie's going to take Merritt if he goes forward.
Tap went straight to Shield. Footy is finding him tonight. Bowie is trying to keep it in and keep that aggressive mindset. He used it pretty well until the Viney handball still goes to Shield. And then to Merritt and then to Durham. Hobbs knew that he was in trouble straight away. The wins the tackle was excellent. So was the turn from Petrarca. Sets it for Pickett. There's no one else at one with the football, but he turns it over. Spoke too soon. Guy and McGrath and Ridley sorted out for the Bolts. Now Reid's kick is punishing enough. It's a good one to Redmond.
So let's see if Essendon can do what they did in the first quarter, and that is uncontested, mark their way down the field. It's a little sign that perhaps there's a little bit more pressure, less uncontested marks.
Yeah.
You see all across the ground, trying to play a bit tighter.
He's forced them wide. Redmond goes long. Jones on the stretch.
There's more empty, guys. They were lacklustre in the first quarter. There's definitely more empty here from Melbourne.
Which is a surprise given they gave up 140 odd uncontested marks last week. But Stephen May back on the ground, which is good news for the Demons.
He's gone back for now.
He's got Caddy.
Caddy, just the 2 disposals thus far. Couple of tough nuts there at Viney and Durham, and then wins and cops the trip. How's that from Durham? The flash hands to Merritt. Quite what Caddy and Jones were expecting as they led to the skipper.
They're always conscious of kicking along to those Melbourne defenders. Stephen May back there now, Petty there as well. So Zach Merritt trying to avoid those intercept marks.
This man Dylan Shield having a spell, well earned. 6 clearances already in this game.
Jones forced a ruck against Gorham, which is not going to be easy for him.
It's the changing mindset. And I think the Merritt matchup is indicative of that. It can get manipulated, as we saw last week when Sparrow came up high as the 5th midfielder, if you like, and it left them 5-on-6 in the back half.
Demons with the only goal of the second quarter. Gord had his way again, but left it behind for Holmes. Salem with the cut-off was impressive. McDonald's left boot. Nelson fought hard to get to the front. Well done, Draper. Al-Hurley feeding it out to Mackay, looking for the next handball. That was to McGrath, and the thread to Holmes, and back to Durham. Good build-up now, the kick. Have to get past Gorn again. Well, they did. At the back, there was 3 Demons. They needed all of them. Petty to McDonald. Trouble's not passed yet. Kako and Jones are rounding up. Merritt. Kako ready for the handball. Instead it's Martin. Skidded ball. Bombers everywhere. Menzies. Well, those awkward-looking kick, you can imagine. But it comes up true.
Well done there, Bombers. Part of the game, aspect of the game's been fantastic from the get-go, guys. Bringing the pressure.
Yeah.
They're tackling. They're really going hard. Throwing a lot of engine. Melbourne will be better at the start of the second quarter, but look at this forward-line pressure. Just keep going. See Penny makes a mistake and just wave after wave of defensive pressure. Eventually get it in the hands of the right ball. He's a good finisher. He's having a good game.
He's having a hell of a game, yeah. Isaac Kako just showed you why they got so excited about the fact that he's going to be, hopefully, a small forward for the next 10 years and puts that sort of pressure on 10 plus years, really. He's not just a kid. But he looks right at home with the pace. And John Menzies, well, he's got 2 on the board early in a low-scoring encounter.
Good effort, wasn't it?
It's an interesting technique.
Bombers answer. As we were at quarter time. Draper over the top, but Gorn ultimately gets the clearance. Oh, that's a good tough defensive mark by Pryor, the former Lion. To Reed. Good system on the way out. Ridley. Centrefield.
Yeah, back in their team. Centrefield, 8 disposals now. Contribution early, he's up to 4 tackles, we know that, and I think he's probably the best defensive midfielder.
Yeah, all of us been restricted to just 4 disposals so far under his watch. This is Ridley. Launching from forward of the wing. Jones didn't get there, but he's flew right over the top of the free kick. Yeah, McDonald basically made sure the umpire saw it in the end, and fair enough too.
Well, the D's have made a structural change forward in football. They've gone 6 smalls in their forward line. Their tallest player is Bailey Fritsch at 188. So the risk with that is the intercept marks for the Bombers.
Yeah, well, I think that's to try and lessen this uncontested marking game, which has been an issue for them. Put some pressure on. I think you said at quarter time you could hear Troy Chapman say, get up and work harder. So that back 6 for the Bombers has been pretty dominant. Kept Melbourne to 2 goals in a quarter and 10 minutes.
Well, they are pretty tall, aren't they? Essendon's defence generally. Mackay and Ridley and Reed. Down to Ruckman. And Brian subbed off, but one of the teams that carried 2. Pickett. Not to be again. Hobbs suddenly realising that things would open up for him. Centre field. No real forward movement, but Caddy planted the feet. McDonald spoiled. It feels like that was out of zone umpire. It's just been a lot of that tonight.
Cool, wasn't it? It was a beautiful kick though. Just to be able to find Caddy, just to try and drop it into the bucket there. Came with penetration and just hang on to it.
Yeah, I think it's there.
The top there.
It's there for sure.
I think his second game outside of Victoria, Nate Caddy. 6 at Marvel, 6 at the MCG, 1 at the Gabba. And his first trip to Adelaide as an Essendon player. And on this Masters weekend, you'd hope that the caddy would be able to work out the distance and the accuracy required.
Well, I say, Anthony, you need the player to then come up and do his bit, and he's done it beautifully for you. And he's a talent, this kid, we know that. This is just some in-tight work here. And we talked about pressure from the Melbourne point of view and how poor it's been throughout the course of the year. Just to get out of those congested plays and he stands still. He's been untidy. Tommy McDonald coming up over the top, free kick there, and he converts. So just opened it up back out to 18 points after Melbourne had a pretty good start to this second quarter. So good signs for the Bombers.
Just his third goal for the year, Nate Caddy. He and Kako really exciting. The Bomber fans in the pre-season haven't quite been able to deliver in terms of goals yet.
No, a lot of expectation in the pre-season. I thought unfairly. There's too much reliance on, certainly from the outside world, reliance on Caddy and Kako. There wouldn't have been internally, but big expectations. So they'll settle in.
Good response from Essendon. Draper Clyde Oliver gets a rare disposal, a kick this time towards centre half forward. Good reflex from Van Rooyen to the voice of the number 13 who tries to step around Hobbs. Back to Van Rooyen again. So they're one key forward in the ruck at the moment. McDonald kicks towards Pickett, who rises, going to the one head up. This is Henderson, back to the inside to Pickett. Shapes the kick, top of the goal square. The Bombers defenders on the right side, folks.
So once again, inside 50 count in favour of Melbourne, 20-18. Yet they trail by 3 goals.
In territory, 5-1 centre clearances on the back of Max Gore. He's been fantastic.
He's been huge.
This was sort of Collingwood last night. Essendon prepared to kick it wide if they need to. Again, the spacing just right. People will be disappointed with that. Too easy on the way out. Merritt and then Martin. This is Perkins. Good closure from Perkins.
Yeah, you're right about that. The spacing. It's a good observation. So I think as a team, talk about spacing. So it takes all 18 to get that wide, and just the spacing between your teammate, just to allow those gaps, make it easy to get those uncontested marks. And you need to work with each other. The midfielders need to work really hard, create space for each other.
Another amazing crowd, given there's no South Australian team playing.
Look at the hill. The hill's absolutely loaded. It's a perfect night to come out and watch some sport. We normally wouldn't get this at this time of the year, I don't think, 30-odd degrees, but it's perfect conditions.
Yes, the teams playing at night have an advantage from a comfort point of view, don't they?
Geez, I wouldn't want to send the kids around with the big bag last night collecting all the empty tins, Gaz. They would have made a fortune down the recyclers this morning.
Having a go.
They're a tariff on that.
So what can they do here? What can they do from half back? They've got numbers in the back half, so they use them up.
Bowie sliding the ball. And really able to deny Melksham. That's over.
Gaze, you spoke about centre field before the game going to Clayton Oliver. He has done that. He's doing a superb job. Oliver just the 6 disposals and the 1 clearance so far, and yet to have a real impact on this game.
Yeah, that was his first kick we saw before, Dell. And Rooyen up against Jones now as the ruck understudy. Gresham.
You see Jake Bowie just off the back of this stoppage here. He's the spare, so he comes up, which allows Ridley to play in the hole. So if he's going to play there, Jake Bowie, he has to have 10 score involvements and to get value out of him.
Hooked over the back by Van Rooyen, trying to get it to Chandler or Henderson. We talked about it a lot last week too, Gary, didn't we?
We did, and he persists on pushing up and playing high, so he's the release out the back. It's got to be effective.
Van Rooyen straight to centre field. Dow could get the crumbs here. He did. He read it beautifully. Didn't have time to really design the kick, but it came in with pace. Pickett was ready to tackle, but just couldn't get there to latch on. Al Hooley, nifty little move with a floating handball. Again, they're straddling the line here. Hobbs coughed it up at the boundary line. Was their saviour?
That was a classic case. So Bowie gets involved and kicks it straight to Ridley, who's the spare. Well, I'm not sure this Melbourne forward line is good enough to be able to absorb a spare like Ridley in the back half.
Fisted down by Jones. Petrarca tries to make the running. Again, frustration. Salem sitting on top of Menzie.
So he is Ridley just in the hole here. So if you win possession here, you can't kick long into a Melbourne forward 50. You're better off kicking on the ground.
Got it to the 50 without any real genuine control at all. So 2-1 for the quarter in favour of Essendon. They built their lead to a match high 18 points. Jones beaten by Van Roy in that time. Centre field. Petrarca onto him. Again, a misplaced handball from Oliver. To Gresham. Caddy and Dersma. Both there. One to pick it up. One ready to receive. Perkins is the deepest forward at the moment. May is the coverage for Melbourne when the ball arrives.
Brilliantly. Back at him.
Kako was leading up. Melbourne a pretty well gridded up ahead. Kako grits the teeth and kicks it long, and there's McDonald. He's going to take a chest mark initially. Somewhere in betwixt and between. Bowie there was ready to receive, which she was able to do from Lindsay.
Poor decision by Kako. Again, we'll reiterate, you don't want to keep longer than Melbourne defender, especially Stephen May back out there.
May to Salem. Now Rivers. Salem again. Trying to draw the 50. Outside 5, the umpire said. McDonald could have gone over the top to Chandler. Instead, back to Salem. Getting plenty of the footy, but can he do the damage that he was renowned for when he was in the All-Australian squad back in the premiership there for the Demons? Sounded like you there, Brandon.
Yes.
It's very precise. A lot of investment in ball movement here without much reward.
And then it just takes one missed kick. And Essendon ready to swoop. And Hurley fires it forward to Perkins, and Essendon spread. They want to get involved. Perkins sees off a couple. It's a bit of a makeshift kick and maybe a bit of a rush of blood. Not much of an answer to how to get it forward. Langdon back there. And now again through Lindsay.
So it's possession heavy, Hutto. So one side, the other, and they're taking marks on the boundary. It's just not any reward when they do get forward.
You're telling me, guys.
You're calling beautifully.
Spargo popped it all, Langdon crunched by Mackay.
Just how do you not see that? So you're putting your teammate in danger. So Ben Mackay's clearly in your vision. They're the sort of decisions they're just got to get much better at. They get away with it.
He gives to Lindsay. High ball. Draper. Enough. Reid left it behind. Henderson underneath. Pickett puts the head down and tries to tunnel his way through. Durham from Draper. Safely and securely from Ridley to Mark.
So Mick Delgado tells us they've gone small on the forward line. So Xavier Lindsay is just a young kid, so we're not putting it on him, but kicks long to Sam Draper, who's 203 centimetres.
Now Dersma. Does Essendon's turn get?
Yeah, so it's hard work, Hutto, here. As we said, it's ball heavy, uncontested marks, slower movement. 23 inside 50s Melbourne to Essendon's 20.
Pryor caddy breaks the shackles with a big hang. On the wing, his kick not so good though. And Lindsay does cut across, tries to keep it in.
Russell back there, didn't he? Trying to keep the ball moving there, Caddy. Was a good mark. One of the exciting youngsters from Melbourne. Hurt himself a couple of weeks ago. Looked like it was a serious injury, but fortunately he's come back tonight. Along with Langford.
Tries to turn the tables on centre field, and he does it well. Good tackle.
Well, Max Gorman's been stuck on the bench coming up 9 minutes. He's stalking the sideline, waiting for an opportunity, but with the ball on the far side, just simply cannot get back onto the ground.
Yeah, there with Harvey Langford. He couldn't be further away. It's in Essendon hands. Shield started it. Merritt with the kick back to Shield. Kept on coming. What a game he's playing.
But it's a great decision. Stephen May got sucked into that, sucked forward, and then they're able to drop him into that space that May had vacated. Good build up there. So didn't blaze long again. Thought about that. The entry was much better inside 50.
The spread from the clearance so good. The Bombers, so much more dangerous when they do win a clearance. There's clearances and there's clearances. You can either bang it on your boot from a clearance, or you can move it in the manner that Essendon did there and find a target.
Essendon fans haven't seen the best of Dylan Shield, an All-Australian back in 2017. Injury, fall, maybe a bit of self-doubt, but it's all coming back tonight. Dylan Shield puts it through, and the Bombers lead blows out to 24 points.
I love this. Better composure by Essendon. So I think Melbourne's pressure has ramped up in the second quarter, so we haven't seen as much of this, guys, but very good out of the stop. Shield's been fantastic. If he probably best on ground tonight, Gaz. He's had 6 clearances, but just have a look at this. So Stephen May's your spare man, much like Ridley at the other end. But what they do, they use a series of handballs, and then when it's time to hit that uncontested kick, hit that uncontested mark, Sheila just runs into that beautiful gap. So look at that, fantastic lab and a great finish.
And you see Zach Merritt spread from that clearance as well. As soon as he identified that they had won the ball, the Melbourne player who was his direct opponent just read it wrong. He went to the pack and Merritt came out into space and he was the link-up player. So their work around the clearance has been really good.
Well, look at the handball, 107 kicks, 103 handballs, Gus. It's a high handball ratio that would help try and bring the Melbourne defenders up and try and commit them just much like Stephen May did there. Big discrepancy between the forward line efficiency there between the two teams, 29% to 9%.
It's a story that's very familiar.
Last 3 goals for Essendon, so Pickett goes into the middle. Takes the advantage with the forward handball to Petrarca, who was ready to launch long. He kept it low. Prior knew it was coming towards Van Rooyen, stumbling but kept it alive. Alhurley's hands, anticipated by Viney, who goes crashing down via Roberts.
So centre bounce has been unbelievable from a Melbourne point of view. So there's 6-1 centre bounce clearances, yet from a centre bounce haven't scored a single point.
Gore knocks it about. Is that high? It is on Durham.
So it's not one of your main scoring sources, but if you've won it 6 times, you'd hope that you managed to be able to find a target somewhere inside forward 50 to score something. But it's just a big black hole.
Durham digs deep and kicks long. Reasonably aggressive line out of defence. Pays off with Draper. Menzies is charging back towards goal. Pressure on young Lindsay, does his best. But Menzies having some sort of night in front of a home crowd.
Well, that'd go back to Sam Draper. I mean, contested mark in heavy traffic, and as soon as you do that, and you react quick, and John Menzies has been reacting really quick. That's just a sensational mark right there. Gets the ball moving, and the kick is not around the corner special for Sammy Draper. It's just a magnificent drop punt.
Not too far away from goal. Now he's in the rep, yes.
Exactly. This guy's having a night.
He is for a 3rd goal. And to compound Melbourne's problems, which are growing by the minute. Bunner's doing the jig. 4 in a row. Menzies kick 3.
Yeah, and this is strength of theirs. As much as they cop a lot of flack for their defensive efforts, Essendon, they can move the ball. They've always been able to do that. Helps when you've got a big boy take a big clunk like that in a 2v1 situation. He had a great awareness to continue the ball moving forward, guys.
So, from an Essendon point of view, they've had 9 inside 50s in their second quarter. Melbourne have had 12. They've kicked 4 goals straight. From their 9 entries, Melbourne has scored 1 goal. So, the air efficiency going forward, the effectiveness of their and ability to find a target when they go forward, it's just in stark contrast. One team's been able to cash in and one team hasn't.
Still 5 minutes remaining. As the number goes along with what Gary was just saying. The stumbling Merritt didn't give up below the hand pass. Went straight to Windsor, and this is Rivers. Able to get himself into the clear, kick it wide for Chandler. Yes, good.
It's a dangerous forward line, isn't it, for Essendon? Actually very mobile. Look at their forwards at the moment. Perkins, Jones, Menzies as their key forwards. Then Kaka, Gresham, Zach Merritt playing as the high half forward in around the stoppages. Very mobile. So that ball hits the ground, Gaz. Melbourne defenders are under a lot of pressure.
Ball hits the ground on the throw-in. And Hobbs able to snaffle it up, and they move again. Dersman and Merritt. There's the left foot. They're all one-on-ones ahead. Penny broke at the right time. Jones, though, got the handball away. Perkins looking to arc back onto the right. Skyball, Menzies again in the mix, but beaten for it, thankfully, for Melbourne by Langdon.
Again, it was that break from clearance from the centre bounce. Zach Merritt gets involved. All of a sudden, they're having to defend deep inside their defensive 50.
Easy ahead for Windsor, so he just goes towards the captain. Nifty stuff from Viney to Oliver, who's just back on the ground. From Lindsay to the centre. Now Petrarca. 4-4, Nelson was about to rise. He comes down with a footy. Well played them up.
It's a hard ask for Jake Melksham. And Jack Merritt's defensive running has to be admired there. That's not his man, Jake Melksham, but he was the one that went back and covered him until Redmond got across.
Viney, the hands clear at least. Henderson, bit of a standoff with Roberts. Defensive job done. Cosy Pickett having a rest, so their most dangerous small forward is not part of this. Gorman with the tap, back to the centre. McGrath and Chandler. Melbourne desperately need a goal here. It's an obvious statement. They started this quarter with one. Essendon 4 chained up 6. They're coming away again through Hobbs. Jones with the jump on Penny. The advantage to the bounce of the ball. The whim of the footy. Picked up by Perkins. He looks ahead and Jones. They kept on running. The ball's out.
Another opportunity goes begging, so Jack Henderson just double grabs the ball. So it looks like he's about to run in and kick an easy goal, which, you know, of all the goals they've had for the year, I don't think there's been too many easy, but there was an opportunity that was just a little fumble. And now they're defending in their defensive half again.
Strong work from Draper, allowed to pass by the umpire. Petrarca's turn to slightly fumble. Got some help that time. The running came from Windsor and then away from Langford out of bounds. So Ed Langdon with 14 disposals. Bowie with 13.
The kicking is actually at 75%. It doesn't look like that, does it, Gaz? It's like 4.5 efficiency. Just making the right decisions.
Hobbs knew what was coming his way. I guess it's where the kicks are, as you said, Brownie.
Well, they're kicking at 30% inside their forward 50, Brownie. That's probably adds up to 2 goals for.
Some sort of energy. Some sort of energy force comes up in the 50-metre line.
Durham kicks it inside the arc. At the back. Langdon with the clear. Anderson and Roberts. Safety arrives.
So Shields had a magnificent half a footy, hasn't he? 20 touches in a half, 6 clearances. He's kicked a goal.
Yep.
Spread him and Merritt spreading from the stoppage has been a sight.
No Caldwell tonight, so even more significant is back, of course, just a short-lived roll across half-back. Langdon, who's toiling away on that wing for Melbourne, kicks to half forward at the back. Spargo, play on, Fritsch. Desperate to get under his left boot. Melksham.
Great.
And was Lindsay denied, fighting for it underneath his Chandler. Then Roy comes at the footy, but so does Mackay. Martin, Chandler almost tackled him before the ball arrived. Spargo to Windsor. A long snap. Percentages weren't really that high.
And Christian Petrarca on his own, just standing out for goal. While we bemoan Melbourne's inability to kick goals, Essendon's defence have absorbed 27 inside 50s, 27 and only given up 2 goals. So that is a massive effort.
They haven't looked vulnerable. Even though Melbourne had the inside 50s, been very good. They've been tight.
Redmond thought he'd take a chance. And Roberts, and they escape again. I don't think Setterfield was really ready for what came next, but he recovered and adapted nicely. Roberts running hard. Gresham, Melbourne defence out of kilter. He had Jones to the right, he had Caddy to the left. Jones comes across after May did his thing. Salem sweeps in. Ooh, Caddy is sore.
Got the man in the back.
They defended really well, got back hard, then they looked like they were all out. They're in all sorts of trouble, and Caddy's just got one of those in the back of the kidneys, Brownie, that always get at some stage. All right, in front of stuff. So the game just halts while he gets himself sorted out.
His feet.
He was wholehearted as well, wasn't he? So the defending from Melbourne, both May and Caddy. So when we looked down, they looked out. But both defenders got there and covered, and then he was brave in the air, and he's just trying to get a bit of oxygen into the lungs.
Great pictures, not so great for Nate Caddy. A great view of the action from the Adelaide Oval. Little grubber from Merritt. You can see the idea he had. Centrefield running hard. Look at the recovery from
He's
Cannon.
back. Already. Lazarus. Gets a round of applause.
And the port giving him a bit of a pump up.
Essendon fans delighted by this first half. Margin sits at 29. Ball came out to Viney, thrashed it back Melcham's direction. Pryor. And Roberts, who continues to impress. He goes via Durham instead. Roberts again was running hard forward, but it left Mackay a little vulnerable.
Understandable there. No, they've been impressive all round. The pressure's been good. The way they've moved the ball's been very impressive. Got inside 50 well. He's been good, Mackay, today.
Organised too, Brownie. So Martin on a wing's called Harry Jones up. Jones comes up and takes Langford, and then he just goes and sits in the hole, Nick Martin.
Hurley back to the wing. To get past Gordon. Look at Caddy. Reckless abandon. Great stuff. Now to Roberts again.
Yeah, so they're really organised. Just watching them get themselves sorted out in the back half of the ground is pretty impressive here. Communicating well, forwards pushing up, allowing their sort of midfielders to get back in the hole and support the defence. This is one of them. So this was Nick Martin who went down back for this last couple of minutes.
A good ball he is up behind the ball. He's got the composure and the skill level.
Kawhi doing his best to milk a few more seconds. Until he's called on to kick. Hucks the boundary. Oh, Draper!
He's been good ahead of the ball. Doesn't matter what target.
Kicked 3 goals here against the D's a couple of years ago. And now Perkins. That's a shot. To May, unfortunately, there's not enough time for Melbourne to take it from one end to the other. So the siren sounds. A frustrating quarter, a frustrating half for Melbourne fans. And for Simon Goodwin, who has got a lot to do at the major break. Essendon kicked the last 4 goals, but let's have another look and celebrate the mark of the night.
And Sammy Draper over the 7-time All-Australian. You reckon he won't be dining out on that one?
He's got a capper about that. Hands in the back just to help the ride. Beautiful.
Goal of the year a couple of years ago. Who knows? In the running for the mark of the year this year. What a sight it is at the Adelaide Oval. Not so much if you're a Melbourne fan. It's a 29-point advantage at half-time. So much to dissect over Gather Round. Gary Lyon and Gerard Whatley will be doing all that and more. It's coaches' night as always on a Monday. They used to work together to get premierships for fun at Hawthorn. Chris Fagan and Alistair Clarkson at opposite ends of the ladder at the moment. They're the guests. And then it's Jack Revold and the team on the couch on Fox Footy.
You're watching Super Saturday Live on Fox.
All right, folks, here we go. It's the Bombers starting to take Melbourne apart here. 7-4-46, 2-5-17 Melbourne. The Bombers kicking 4 straight goals. Melbourne 1 goal 1. There we go. Essendon well on top now, says M. King. I hope Essendon will win, says Cheer. I think Essendon definitely looking, they are on their way to victory in this game here. Melbourne just, to me, they just don't look like they got targets down forward. They have their chances down there, but they've had plenty of chances inside 50 for only 2 goals. I think they're going to struggle. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they just need to change around. They need to get a few different players. Even if they stick Clayton Oliver down there or stick Maxi Gawn down there, stick him down there, a little bit of tall timber. Stick a real target. Yeah, it's just not working there for Melbourne. Essendon, though, they got good run. Of course, Dylan Shields having a cracker of a game so far. Let's have a quick glance at the stats, the goal scorers. Not too many goals being scored in this game so far. Johnny Menzie, well, he's got 3. He's the only multiple goal scorer there. And that is for the Bombers. Of course, Dylan Shields got 1. Harrison Jones has got 1. Ben Hobbs and Nate Caddy has 1 as well. Still, Kyson Pickett, Ed Langdon, the only 2 single goal scorers there for Melbourne. We'll have a little bit of look and see their inside 50s in a moment. But they've still had plenty of chances for only 2 goals. It's pretty disappointing. Dylan Shield, though, continuing on his merry way in this game. 20 disposals up until half time. Fantastic stats for him. 10 and 10, 3 marks, 6 clearances. He's kicked a goal. He's doing fantastic there, Dylan Shield. Good to see him back and playing well. Zachy Merritt, there we go. Couple of old boys. Good to see them back and rolling. 17 touches. He's next best for the Bombers. Of course, Ed Langdon, the best for Melbourne with 17. He's kicked a goal as well. Let's just roll down a few. Andy McGrath there on 15 there for the Bombers. Jack Vine. Jack doesn't look like Jack Vine is playing too bad out there this evening. He's trying his best. He's getting in amongst it. He's had 7 kicks, 7 handballs, 14 touches. He's kicked a behind. Also a clearance. Maxi Gorn, the big man, had a scream and took over him by Draper. Well, he's had 13 touches, 24 hit-outs. He's had 4 clearances, the big man. Need him to lift as well. Christian Petrarca and Clayton Oliver, just slow games by these two boys tonight. They need to fire up if Melbourne are going to have any chance at all. Any chance at all. They both had just 11 touches up until half time. Who's the other one? I was trying to spot the other one. I can't quite see where he is. Bailey Fritz, that's the one. They keep going for him, and he keeps getting 1 and 2 players on him. Spoil, not much of a chance. I think they definitely need to look for a different target than Bailey Fritz out there. So they definitely need to change something up. 46 possessions in front are the Bombers. They're going pretty well there. The kicks just by 19. Handballs a little bit more. So 27. Of course, inside 50s, if you have a look at that, Melbourne have had 1 inside 50 more than Essendon. And they just do not look threatening at all going inside 50. 25% efficiency inside 50. Melbourne is quite poor. Just for a result of 2 goals. Yeah, they need to lift their game up a bit. 7 scoring shots, though. 27 inside 50s, 2 goals, 5. Pretty poor by Melbourne. Essendon, however, at least they've put 7 goals on the board for their 26 inside 50s, going all right. 11 scoring shots there. Free kicks went a little bit more Melbourne's way that way. 10-5, getting on top in that department. Melbourne, the hit-outs, yeah, good old Maxi's doing the job there, as always. Plus 13 there. But the Bombers in the clearances, in the centre, and the clearances, 16-21. Centre clearances, though, Melbourne just purely dominating there, 7-1. Stoppage clearances, it's going the opposite way. It's all Essendon, 20-9. Contested possessions, all pretty even, both contesting, but the uncontested, as I said, Essendon controlling this game. There's the marks, only 12 the difference. Inside 50 marks, not good for a quarter, for half a game. Essendon already pretty much on their season's average. All right, we'll get back to the commentators for a little bit of their analysis on the first half.
The Melbourne defenders, to suck them up the ground, we know that they like to take those long intercepting marks, so they're able to set the game up really well. And then defensively, I thought they brought the pressure as well.
Yeah, I thought they were great. And one of the beneficiaries is Jai Menzies, who for the first time in his career has kicked 3 goals, and he's done it in a half a footy and been able to read the play as it unfolded, get ahead of the ball and been able to hit him up. He's been a bit imaginative as well and brave and courageous in the air.
Been great, hasn't he? He's a key forward tonight. They actually played a pretty mobile forward line, especially in that second quarter, guys. They look really dangerous against Petty, against McDonald, against May. You know they're going to be challenged when the ball hits the ground. He knows where the goals are. He's fantastic. 3 goals. Has he ever done that in a half a footy before, guys?
BB, half-time highlight seats the Maccas. I'm loving it, and he's loving it indeed. He's been really dangerous in a low-scoring game. So kicking 3 goals and a half is really significant. And look, the 2 stories are the way that Essendon go forward and are able to execute inside 50 as opposed to Melbourne, and that's the story of the half, and it's been the story of probably Melbourne's seasons for a number of years now. This 26% scores per inside 50 gets a lot worse when you go to goals per inside 50.
Yeah, it does. So Melbourne going at 7% goals per inside 50. In context, Essendon going at 26%. They've been very good. So you see Gordon position back here and Stephen May as well, guys. So the importance of, yes, before that, to use handball, but then to find that uncontested mark inside 50 to lower your vision. This is a great example here. Again, the use of handball. If you had as many handballs as kicks in this half of football, guys, so that sucks Stephen May forward. Creates an opportunity, a vacuum, if you will, for Shields to float down, take that mark and go and kick a really good goal. He's had a fantastic half of footy as well as a midfielder.
Absolutely superb. So Bowyer's going forward from an Essendon point of view, great. I imagine the discussion here is the discussion that the Melbourne Football Club have had for a long period of time is what do we do when we go forward? Just bang the ball here. This is Jacob Van Rooyen pushing back to goal. You would have thought you wanted some body on the opponent earlier in the piece to get some separation.
Or a lead up goes. Yeah, on the one. Yeah. I think it's, look, at the end of the day, the forwards have to take some responsibility for why the efficiency is not great. But I'd love to see more of this. You just haven't seen this in Melbourne's game for the best part of 3 years, have you? Salem compose himself. The targets are there. If you're willing to lower the eyes.
Dylan Shield, as you spoke, has been absolutely superb. So has missed a lot of footy over the last couple of years, but his very best is great. And this has been as good a half of footy as I've seen from him for a long time. He's had 6 clearances, he's had 20 possessions, and he looks dangerous. He and Merritt have been superb.
Yeah, Caldwell was in out tonight with an injury, so he's gone back in that midfield. Started here at half-back, didn't quite look comfortable in his familiar role tonight.
The Bombers are comfortable at the moment, 29 points of margin. Can the Demons fire a shot? We'll find out. There'll be a few shots fired tomorrow night. Don't worry about that. Everyone is looking forward to Port Adelaide and Hawthorn. You'll see it here on Fox Footy from 7 o'clock.
You're watching Super Saturday Live on Fox. Brought to you by the all-electric Toyota BZ4X.
All right, folks, we'll be back in just a moment.
Here's to the
9 points down. The Bulldogs looked like they were humming to a victory and the first loss for the Brisbane Lions. But Brisbane, the champs, we know they come hard and they came hard. And you mentioned Eric Hipwood, he was fantastic.
It's embarrassing what they're doing to the competition at the moment. They're just teasing distance. They're giving them a chance to build a lead and mowing it down. They're quite phenomenal.
And there they are, sitting pretty on top of the ladder. The Gold Coast Suns, T, they're a story as well, Jay Clark, that we're going to delve into in the Saturday debrief.
Yeah, certainly are. Gold Coast, they're undefeated, and Dimmer plays his old mob, Richmond, this weekend, so you know they're going to be a massive story. Also, North Melbourne, the spotlight's going to go on Alistair Clarkson this week. They've got a huge occasion, the Good Friday game. It's the biggest game of the year. They've lost their last three by average 51 points. They've conceded more than 100 points to the opposition 4 out of their last 5 games. So the spotlight's on the system, and in this marquee Good Friday clash, they can't be blown out of the water by a Carlton side.
Fair bit to get through on our Saturday debrief. Got to talk about the West Coast Eagles as well, where they're at. Celebrate Carlton as well. So much to discuss in our Saturday debrief. Do join us following this match. But Anthony Hudson, he's ready to go to call the second half action here from Adelaide Oval. We've got the Macarena playing at the moment too. Jeez.
Get involved, Kat.
Oh no, and now Jack's dancing. This is no good. Let's head back to Anthony Hudson next after the break. It's the Bombers leading the D's by 29 points.
You're watching Super Saturday Live on Fox.
Instant discussion about it too. Sparrow trying to dig in, and Petrarca at least gets Melbourne forward, but again, it's just a quick kick forward and easily plucked by the Essendon defence. Ridley, look at what's ahead.
A good reaction from Merritt. He was actually on Petrarca, then quickly got off him after that kick.
Calmly playing it wide for Mackay. Just fell a bit short of the target. Salem marks an incumbent that time. Pickett. Petty is deepest forward, but instead he cuts it back through to Petrarca.
That's the first time I've seen someone come back up at the ball carrier. Every single time Melbourne get a break and go forward, they're all herring back towards goal. And
who was it? Christian Salem again.
Yeah.
So in the second quarter, so he seems to be the one that you need to give him the ball in his hands in the front half. He seems to be the one that has the composure to hit that inside 50 target.
And maybe inspires them to go, well, he's a good ball user, I'll come back up at the footies.
Christian Petrarca, 6 goals, 3 coming into tonight. The record leading goal scorer. Good to see him fit and well, but his team needs so much from him, and it has to start here and now. Fades across. Conservative re-entry to McGrath. He just bangs it up across half-back. Wasn't it, Ben Merritt?
So good. He's in great touch, this bloke.
So much so we'll have another touch to Ridley, to McGrath. So they got themselves into a tangle, but out. Reed is looking better each week. Sort of. I'll keep our mouths relatively shut, but it's hard when you're calling the game. McGrath sliding through the middle. So let's get all of that. Got there to Durham. Great lunge from Pickett. Had the desired effect. Durham goes back in and wins it. She flings it to the outside to Gresham. So disrupted ball movement, but eventually it's in the hands of Martin.
On the run page. Several pages that forward. He's waiting for that forward to run back into that space. Didn't come.
Alford sends it to Salem. And puts it to Windsor, and the breath of Draper.
It's actually a good effort by Draper to slow down. In a different time.
I was going to say.
In a different time, I think it might have been a different ending.
It's going to go Essendon's way. Draper, I thought he might have been thinking goal, but instead he tucks it into the pocket. Another disaster for the Demons.
Great battle, great effort by the big man. You're inspired when your big man gets dirty, down and dirty like that at ground level, puts the pressure on. It's been a great battle between him and Max Gorn. Max is taking the points around the clearances, but aerially this bloke's been fantastic, and this time on the ground.
Becoming a debacle quickly for Melbourne. Windsor getting some assistance medically after that horrible turnover. Merritt has become a goal-kicking force this year for the Bombers, but he leaves that one on the ground.
Spent 8% forward last year, Merritt. This year he's been 33% forward, 30% forward, 29% forward. So Brad Scott spoke about the fact that he wants to put it on some of the other midfielders, and he's been dangerous enough when he does go forward, Zach Merritt.
14 goals last year, becoming more forward impact, and 6 already to his name this year.
Yeah, I think there's a feeling too they wanted to improve their entries inside 50, so get Merritt more in the front half. Nick Martin as well. Some of those better ball users bring the ball inside 50.
Salem marking from Langdon, both being overworked. Langford.
Just haven't been able to break it open at all. I know, haven't been able to find a free target. Certainly haven't been able to come back through the middle. Just pretty predictable.
Petty. All the Essendon players at the back. 5 of them to sort it out. It was the prettiest handball from Merritt to Pryor, but no sense of panic. Reed, Merritt, Ridley. Jones and Caddy, both in the air, both almost. Certainly threatened to bring it down. Langdon to Oliver. Langford, so it was a good choice that time of handball at the end from Oliver. Sets them on a path. Spargo trying to get what's ahead sorted out. Placed it pretty well. And Petty with one more. No, he doesn't go to Fritsch. He thought about it a couple of times.
That was good. Good by Pickett. unselfish, allow Petty to run back in that space.
A bit of a angst up over on the outer week.
So Petty, as we said, has a game high of 6 goals. His next best is 3, so it was a bit of an outlier. They persisted with him as a forward. Had the offers to come to Adelaide, to come to the Crows, and Melbourne wanted him to stay. They've made the big move. Petty forward. And they've got something out of it. Finally, Melbourne has a 3rd goal. And is there some fight after all in the Demons?
Well, I desperately needed that. Felt like it was the last couple of fingers on the cliff. They're just hanging in there. So, unbelievably, as we spoke about this Monday night, Harrison Petty, only player for Melbourne in the top 100 field kicks in the competition. That wasn't a field kick, that was a set shot, but he's an underrated kick. Probably more of an indictment on the rest of the team.
Yeah, I think that might be the fact there. This bloke's got to get more than 42, Charlie Spargo. So these are the guys who are distributing inside 450 for Melbourne. And you've got to get, I keep saying, you've got to get value for your possessions. If you're not getting 25, 30 touches, every single one of them got to lead you something. On that occasion, Dick Perry's good enough to go back, Petty's good enough to go back and kick the goal. 3 inside 50s. A piece in this 3rd quarter, 1 goal, 1 apiece. So at least there's a little bit of hope, a little bit of light from a 450 point of view.
Kicked 9 goals, 15 last year, so still spent a bit of time forward. It's in hard, but Salem wearing him well.
The bottom line is that the impotency of this forward half is becoming, the biggest talking point probably in the competition, and the fact that they haven't been able to put in place anything that looks like fixing it is an indictment on the group, coaches and players.
I think they're frustrated with that call, holding the ball. Didn't do enough to show the umpire. He was trying to dispose of it. Oh, he was so good in his first outing as a sub. He's had a longer time at it tonight. Jones in front. The opposition came late. Oh, Gordon almost fell in the back of Draper. Flung out of there again. It's Langdon feeding it to Oliver. Just got it moving somehow. Same mode from Pickett. Now French off the right boot, down the line. Melksham had to wait. He just got a little bit of interference.
Yeah, Langdon's worked hard. He's worked hard all night. He's been one of the few that's just won his position and won it cleanly.
Melksham could go short to French, but that's covered now. Rivers.
Good change of direction here. Set up.
Full switch and then wait finally. Once he takes it to Salem. Petrarca, Ridley with the extra length on his arms, just worked it to the front. And abouts.
That's okay, though. Position's okay. Great stoppage here. One the clearances, 20.
What a night it is for Simon Goodwin. He needs his troops to show something, and quickly. Melksham in front. Langford kick, but Roberts not far away.
Just pressing ever so slightly here, whether they can put a little bit of doubt in this Essendon's mind, put them under a little bit of pressure for perhaps the first time tonight.
Well, looking to kick consecutive goals for the first time. Fighting like a bullet again. Petrarca, they were ready for him.
Stood up well, this defence. Been comfortable in the back six.
And he's waiting in the goal square. Pickett was there or thereabouts. Langford. Just a massive Essendon players there. Just to kind of stave off Melbourne. Don't even give them a sniff. Coach starting to prowl. Draper and Gorn. Fought the good fight, Dersma. It's a rush kick, so Melbourne will get the free for insufficient. We're going to see a connection. Fridge fully wound up. Goals have been hard to come by, but how quickly fortunes can change. A glimmer of hope for the Demons. Bailey Fritz's second goal after 7 behinds. It's like he's kicked his 6th.
And it's the spark. It's the spark that Melbourne needs. They kick 2 in a row down. Got that forward stoppage, Gaz. I think the entry was better moments ago. They created 3 or 4 forward 50 stoppages. So what you can do is you can build your defensive setup. You can build that wall, you can turn that ball over and then something special there. Well done by Fritz, who struggled.
Had a new little baby as well, so they're sending the message. But for the first time there, that's an example of a bloke who's playing to his ability. So he's been a shell of himself these last 4 weeks. So at least he took the responsibility there. It was a heads-up play. Harrison Jones had his back to the play when it went out of bounds, and he took the initiative. And he is a skillful enough player to do something like that. So maybe that might get him going. Little glimmer for Demons.
At his best, of course, kicked 59 goals back in the Premiership here. Seems like an age ago now, but Melbourne have got a little taste. Consecutive goals for the first time. Essendon out of the middle for Shield, who was dominant in the first half. Salem, though, short circuits that into Van Rooyen. He's had a little break. He's back out there now. He's the backup ruckman. Takes it across to Lindsay. So Gorm having a little break for the moment. Oliver. Pickett running to receive. Takes the kick to a one-on-one, but it wasn't really a key forward. It was Sparrow flying. Henderson versus Roberts. Tried to go off the ground. Questionable. Fritz suddenly with extra vigour. Mackay. And there's Redmond. Just puffs out the cheeks. Pickett had him lined up, but he was good enough to elude. Nancy having the night of his life. 3 goals already. Almost going to be the first to get there again. Tried to keep it in, it was with the line and out of bounds.
Gee, that was good for Redmond in the back half. So they're under pressure. Probably the first time for the night. They're feeling a little bit of heat. They've kicked 2 in a row, Melbourne. He gets the ball waxed under his arm and takes ground and territory and gets it outside of what was a little bit of a dangerous situation.
Melbourne with the last 2 goals. Halfway through this third quarter, Van Rooyen, the cuffs are on. Play on the call. Viney back to the wing again. Spargo and Redmond back through the legs. Was he manhandled? No whistle. It seems a little hard to explain. Make your own call.
Such an unfortunate one, would think.
Yeah. Nice understatement, Gary.
Got even numbers ahead of the footy, both sides. Ahead of the ball, even numbers, no one in a hole.
Chandler had it. And really had him.
Not really to free up like that in the first half, Gaz.
That's right. And so this becomes the issue. This becomes the most important part of it, the clearance and the stoppage game.
So you can just kick it a bit quicker.
Yeah, and you're going to get a one-on-one contest. Both teams ahead of the footy.
Now Penny's forward, you've got another aerial target.
Now he's sweeping through McGrath. Cut the angles beautifully.
Well, that's where you hope that, with Petty and maybe Van Rooyen, some aerial support, go long.
Over on his haunches, Martin in the clear.
It's funny, they go long with that, with the bigger guy down there and attempt to go to short when they have.
Footy goes back 50 metres to be recycled out the other side. From Reed to Ridley comes to a standstill. Suddenly it's Essendon with more critical choices.
Yeah, they're tightening up the centre corridor too, Melbourne. They're allowing Essendon back inside.
Impressive Roberts. Keeps it relatively low and well weighted to Dersma. As that aerial prowess as good wingmen do.
Teddy's pushed back really hard.
To Ridley, who's unmanned. And unhurried. Takes the very wide kick, travelling to Perkins and Langdon again.
As we said, being Melbourne's best, Ed Langdon, his work rate, his willingness to push from one end of the ground to the other, he's tireless. When you get to intercept opportunity like that, hold it up, get a stoppage, away you go again. Clearance numbers 21, 26 in favour of the Bombers, just evened up a little bit.
Brian subbed out with injury. If you've just joined us, it's Jones rucking. Pickett back through Henderson to Viney. And a fumble at a critical moment. Shield to Roberts, cornered. And still wanting to move it forward. Dersma and Roberts and Hobbs. And now Martin enables the Bombers to do that. Couldn't shake off the tackle. The pressure was great from Bowie. Turns it back Melbourne's way. Pickett to Melksham. One-on-one ahead. Fritz to dictate. Sparrow to charge. McGrath, Fritz got there. And it's a 50. Yes, it is. The march back to the goal square. The third Melbourne goal in succession is imminent.
Great call, it's moments. We saw Fritz moments ago kick that goal when the tackle was a Bowie. The chase down tackle there, like just desperation. This is why Fritz is kicking this goal.
From Little Things. Their sergeant's a count.
Let's go back to that centre bounce. Sorry, the centre wing where it was, I think it was Nick Martin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was pushing
It was away, looked like he was gone.
Yeah, and they extricate themselves out of a really dangerous situation. And Bowie just hangs on for his life. Turns the footy over, then the most dangerous player in Pickett gets involved. He hits up Melksham, and finally he gets them up at the ball carrier movement. So all of a sudden, first time, 3 unanswered goals, the defence of Essendon have to tighten up. So they play a bit tighter. And as a forward, for the first time maybe this year, they can dictate this forward group a bit more to where they want to go with this Essendon defence.
And the D's have just made it their sub. We're still waiting for clarification on exactly who will make way for Harry Sharp, but he's now on the ground.
It might be Henderson. Just keep an eye on that one for us, Nicky Dalian. So Jack Henderson out for Sharp, hard runner. So pressure on the Bombers for the first time.
Going back out there. Shield to Merritt. Their belief is growing. Each Essendon possession a little more difficult to connect. Petrarca. Penny no mark. Sparrow as they circle this. The man just come on the ground. Shield is brought to ground legally.
Certainly haven't been strong centre bounce gaining territory. So 9-4 centre bounce clearances, whereas Essendon won the other clearances around the ground.
Smashed forward by Max Gorn. Defending grimly was Ridley that time. Mackay. Al-Hurley takes off. Has to go a second time. A gift for Petrarca. Still a rush kick. No mark. From Melksham. Reed with a lunging handball. Shield, the object. Was to get it out. Was that another over play by Melksham? No, throw it in.
So no easy exit all of a sudden. So Hurley takes off, and in the first half he gets through that, and all of a sudden they're attacking. Now they get stopped in their half.
Margin back at 17. Now, Essendon free kick. The umpire had the wrong call for a moment. Hand off from Draper to Pryor. His left foot in the Perkins direction.
Jeez, that's a mark.
Surfed the wave, and it was a heavy landing.
That's a hell of a mark. Degree of difficulty there. Full flat out at the footy, jumping into a pack and holding on. I can't handle about it.
Oh, wow. Up to half forward, Kako and Gord. The size differential there. Durham, not so easy. Essendon on all fronts now.
This is a really good mark. So you're coming at speed. You got Stephen May. Oh, you got a little bit fortunate.
Gordon Draper contest again. Good hands, Durham Al-Hurley. Suddenly, Caddy, front position at the back, McDonald.
Great Shepherd.
And at a favourable bounce, sets up May.
Great by Gresham, chased out of that stoppage, got inside 50 to equalise the numbers. Looked like Melbourne going to exit. Nick Martin frustrated that extra handball for Al-Hurley, didn't go inside, so just got to be careful, got to stay composed here, Essendon.
Melbourne's turn to defend. Bowie made the right call, stepping through to Chandler. Let's have a look at their mode now, the Demons. Up to Sharp. Molly Irons hot. Can they strike again? Along the wing. Melksham's going to contend with 2 in the air. Oh, he did better than that. Takes the mark. They break clear. Has a bounce. And a second. Goes to Cozzy. Great ball, 1-2. Pickett prevails.
Maybe for the first time for the year, they're starting to work together as a team. And it started back there was a Shepherd from Xavier Lindsay. You don't see Shepherds too often. But Shepherds tell you that your team are thinking about someone other than yourself. And you're starting to see that come through this side here. So, Cozzy Pickett goes back, 4 in a row, closes it potentially to 11 points.
For his second goal, 4 in a row. It was hard to see this in the first half. But things can change, and quickly, on a Super Saturday on Fox Footy. Let's check the Bunnings build-up.
Yeah, it's been much better. You look at the efficiency. So 9 inside 50s this quarter for 4 goals won. Much better than what we saw in the first half. Just have a look at that great mark by Melchin, but reacted straight away and knew he had needed the numbers behind him. Brad Scott's reaction. Could not believe it. He knows momentum swing against him. Really good forward connection there. Obviously, the kick to pick it, but the way they all led to different positions. Great one-on-one.
We saw Spargo come running across. I don't know if we get to see that again, but Spargo comes sprinting across the front of this pack, and his man's got no choice. He's just given up 3 goals in a row. Has to go with him. That's what the point I'm trying to make. When you're dangerous enough as a forward group, you dictate to the opposition, and you get one out all of a sudden with Cozzy Pickett in the goal square.
Not sure he's impressed by the respect being shown to him, having a youngster as his opponent, letting him know all about it. Petrarca out on the middle there on the march. Gordon Oliver, the 3 biggest guns. Not firing, but it's going to go 1 barrel for Clayton.
Yeah, and on the other end is, on the other side of it as well, they've restricted Essendon's ball movement. So Essendon had 10 change from their back half. Only once they've been able to reach their inside 50. So much better by Melbourne defensively as well to go hand in hand with their forward efficiency.
Back to 10 now. Chandler in front. Alhurley denies him in the air. Draper. Well, getting it was one thing, getting rid of it another. Essendon led by 35 points early in the quarter. Shield, it's an open forward 50. Uninhabited until now. Setterfield. Tricky situation for Durham. He's trying to be creative.
That's exactly what you're talking about, Bradley. So all of a sudden they're off. That first half was just, that goes the whole way. And the defenders are defending on the last line. Now it's being stopped, you know, middle of the ground or outside there attacking 50.
Just a wonderful sight. And now we're getting a wonderful contest, which didn't seem apparent in the first half. The Melbourne have kicked 4 goals 2 in this quarter to 1-1.
10 inside 50s to 5. They've taken 3 marks from opposition kicks, so they're starting to cut them off at the back half. And
it's out to Petrarca. Back in again. Merritt sweeps the kick. Kako weighted down. Fighting hard with Lindsay. Worked his way through it nicely. Setterfield. There's the set-up kick. There's 2 bombers. It's tough for Rivers. And Dersma drifting across.
Great effort, Kako, the young man. He and Lindsay would have played against each other a hell of a lot over the last 3 or 4 years. A great contest, kept his feet, stayed in that contest. And as I said last week, this young man, I thought, played his best game for Essendon, and he's up and down the wing, and his courage is never doubted. So this will be a nice one, just to give them a little bit of breathing space.
Yeah, 24 minutes since the last goal, so desperately need this settler. The nerves will be there though, guys. A little tricky distance.
Is he going to bring it out, Gaz? Might be a good time.
It is.
It's deadly straight. Massive relief for Essendon fans.
So Isaac Kako, let's go back to him winning a ground ball inside forward 50. They've been hard to come by. As I said, they've taken 3 marks, Melbourne, from what they kicked. So started to intercept for the first time in a long time. Salem and edged him under. Kako under the footy earlier and taken a mark. This time, the pressure up there, magnificent from Alhurley, and then this just ground ball. This is ability to stay in the contest, keep your feet, win the ball outright, and then set up the return inside 50. And it's a good kick, good courage, great mark, great finish. So exciting for the Essendon fans to see this young man strut his stuff.
The bow and arrow was there, guys. Don't you worry about that. The bow and arrow tonight. We get the aeroplane tomorrow night.
Yes.
Kicked 9 straight last year.
There it is.
That's his 3rd goal for the season. And they're getting it, look to march it out of the middle to the misplaced handball. Rivers on the job for Melbourne. His kick all prior. It's a good tackle. 3 minutes 30 left. Intriguing contest now. Redmond, bit of a funny old kick forward, and the umpire's got a decision to make here.
He just hasn't got any faith in Mason Redmond's kicking, has he?
Clearly not.
He thinks it was half a shank.
Let's breathe a fraction easier in this quarter. His team has responded. So look of urgency in the Essendon box. Draper with the handball.
Well, the reason, I don't suspect he's breathing that easily, but they've had 10 inside 50s this quarter from kick 4 goals too, Hunter. So for the first time getting some reward.
Stand off in the run. Gorn prevail. Al-Hawley. Took 3 Melbourne players to bring him down. In the grind of it now. Late in quarters, we know how crucial goals can be. How momentum can swing. Draper. Oh, might be a free kick. And an extra aggression caught by Volley.
It's been a bit of hits in the game, isn't it, between the two teams? If you want to spot follows throughout.
Volley plays it along the wing. A couple of would-be flyers in the back. Pride, Reed, Merritt to Draper. He hesitated on the kick. Jammed it forward. Melbourne should have the stocks here to at least get it out of bounds.
Good result, good Draper.
Great, was it?
Yeah.
Clayton Oliver, 16 possessions, 3 kicks, 13 handballs. So he'll take that all day long from centre field. Done a great job. 16 touches himself.
There's the Beavers gain overall with Pachaka on top. Gorn back through Bowie again. It's in a flurry. Oliver to a one-on-one. Reed versus Petty. Sharp to Petrarca. This could be dangerous if it comes together. Chandler, Van Rooyen and Pickett inside the forward 50. The ball about to arrive, a little shorter than that. Martin got a hand in. Van Rooyen fired it off to Spargo. He ignored Petrarca. Instead, he spots Sharp, and it's all go for the Demons. Go, go, go!
Great finish, well done Harry Sharp. He just composed himself. Good build-up. It goes back to Harrison Petty, so didn't take the mark. It's not going to go down on the stat sheet, but this contest, all important. End up out of position, but just held as he was about to get thrown out of the way. Just enough to get to the ball and ground. Sharp's there, and he's a gun runner. He's the best runner at Brisbane. He's probably the best runner along with Ed Langdon at Melbourne. Comes in and then finishes, just keeps charging. It makes the most of his opportunity. Good effort by Spargo.
Well, that's the thing. So this is what Spargo can bring to the table. His composure there, not just blasting away. So for the first time, it looks like maybe a little light's gone off in the minds of these blokes on forward to centre. They're saying, hey, the long to the top of the square ain't working. And they've lowered their eyes. They've been a bit more composed. The running effort of Sharp was superb. He was at the front of the on centre wing with that great Petty contest you talked about. He ended up kicking the goal.
It's about him putting Petty forward. That move was made at half-time. An extra aerial contest out of the ball.
His 4th goal already as a Demon. Started as the sub tonight. Brings it back to within 10. Oliver tumbled over. Petrarca getting more and more influential. Wobbles it forward. They come hard at the ball. Pickett. McGrath kept the line. Sharp again. Oh, Pickett was there for the give. But it's Essendon able to work their way through. That's a rush kick by McGrath. Draper tumbling through. Melbourne able to win it back.
Great tackle.
Underneath of that. Great work from Menzie. The Bombers able to sweep through the middle. Merritt to Darren. Into the turf once. Long range kick. Just lost his head a bit.
Again.
Oh, is that Mark Payne? It's not. Martin didn't give up. Didn't give in. And puts it through.
Just as bad to say the chase by Bowie, but what happened there? Nick Martin was put into half foot after half-time. Goes and played it in the wing in the first half. Just to get dangerous. Let's just have all of this. A great chase by Bowie again. We saw it about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, we were about to say that Essendon were falling into the trap of just bombing away, and he didn't control the mark, Stephen May, and he was clean enough mark to hit the ball and not the hands. So I don't think there's any issue here. I think Slow-Mo looks like a mark. I think he will play. I think it's absolutely fair enough.
One more beat and it was a mark, wasn't it?
It's a big play though. It's a real big play because the Petrarca coming out in the middle of the ground looked like they were in for potentially another goal. Goes the other end and Martin kicks one that opens it back up to 16 points.
Frustration for Stephen May. Melbourne had kicked 5 of the previous 6 goals. Another settler for Essendon, but both lots of supporters will be feeling anything but settled. Another rebound's needed in the middle. Minute 28 remaining in this third term. The game has come alive in this quarter. 5 goals 2 to 3 goals 1. Pickett buzzing around. Fritz in front, Ridley from behind. Redmond herring after it. It would have been great if he was running towards goal. Instead he was at half back. Downfield free. Copped a little in the afters. Down to the last minute. There's a lot at stake tonight. It's really starting to see and feel like that out there now. Martin. Draper came late, but he had impact. Now he sees it safely over.
It's a big minute, isn't it? A goal here to Essendon in their forward half of the ground at the moment. We don't do a lot of the good work Melbourne have been able to do in this third quarter to close to 16.
Energy in Syracuse. Much fingernails left, I don't think they're in the box. Next to Brad Scott. Petrarca overran it. Merritt squares it up with Pickett. Petrarca heads after it again. Hobbs knew he was coming. Took possession of the footy. Interesting call.
First time for the year, 6-3 clearances, 6-3 centre bounce clearance for Melbourne and winning clearance around the ground as well. So just the strength of their side over the years has just come back a bit in this third quarter.
Dowie sees it, a passage forward. It was narrow. And it's back over the line, out of bounds. We're down to 28.
They've just been able to equalise the contest head of the ball as well, Melbourne. Harrison Penny went there at half-time in the forward line. See there from Dan Ryan, just a less crowded draw.
Which of these big ruckmen are going to be able to carry the load in the last quarter?
This has been a great battle. I love that. The two heavyweights there, Gawn and Draper. Obviously, Gawn's done it for a long period of time. Draper, one of the up-and-comers.
Gawn to Cozzy. Over the top to Langdon, chugging away. Melbourne will get the last scrap at it in the pocket. Pryor. Allowed to do that.
Got a huge last quarter coming, Hutto.
Huge.
You know how much it means from a Melbourne point of view for the Bombers too to be able to string 2 together. They've only played 3 games.
Exactly. Yeah, the quirk of the draw and the postponed game pre-season. Just their 4th game. They get to 2-2 if they win here. Critical 10 seconds. They're able to stave it off. So the siren will sound. Melbourne, who kicked us 2 goals in the first half, have kicked 5 in the third. It's back to 16 points. Carlton were able to get their first win of the season earlier this afternoon here at the Adelaide Oval. Can the Demons do it? They made the changes at half-time. It's paid off to how much? We will find out shortly on a beautiful warm night at the Adelaide Oval. When all the action...
All right, folks, there we go. A better quarter from Melbourne in that third. Melbourne putting on 5 goals, 2 in that third term. Much better to see from Melbourne. The Bombers putting on 3 goals, 1. Melbourne, well, in patches there, they look good. They look like they had a bit of run, a bit of structure about them, and they hit targets up forward. They found space, and things happen. Melbourne, that's what you could do in the final term. We're in for a cracking last quarter, folks. It is 16 points to margin. Of course, that is Essendon's lead, 10-5, 65, 7-7, 49 Melbourne. This is anybody's game. Let me just have a check and see what the poll's saying. The poll is saying 76% Essendon. Well, are they going to be right? Not sure. All right, let's go and have a quick look at the stats. But we like the worm. I tell you what, this has been a little bit of a worm that's been consistent over a couple of games we've seen this weekend. Teams have been in control up until halfway and a bit into the third quarter, and then the other team just pulls them back. Essendon just needs some composure under pressure. Going to have to win it again. I tell you what, they got that lucky late goal there, Essendon, of course, the Melbourne defender. Well, it was a soft mark of it bobbled out of his hands, went to ground. The Essendon bloke, gathered it in, went in for a goal, which was. You just never know. Could be the most important goal so far. Took them back out to a 16-point lead. But certainly Melbourne looked a lot better. Look, both teams looking reasonably good in patches. Pretty hard to choose who's going to win. If I was going to choose, I'd probably say Essendon for mine to hang on. But if Melbourne continue on some of that good form, they might get up. It's only 16 points, nothing much in it. John McKenzie still tops the table with 3 goals there for the Bombers. Kyson Pickett and Bailey Fritz, both with 2 each. Good to see Fritz a little bit better there. Found himself on the end of a couple of marks there, so that was good. Bit stronger leads out there for it, and it was a lot better target. Dylan Shield, Sharp, Pretty, Perkins, Martin, Langdon, Jones, Hobbs, Dersma and Caddy, the other single goal scorers of the match. Let's just see if Dylan Shield's still up there. Zachy Merritt now takes the lead. Only player in the 30s. He's at 30 disposals, 11 kicks, 19 handballs there for the Bombers. Of course, Dylan Shield is having a great game there also for the Bombers. Let's see how he finishes off. He's had 26, 7 clearances. That's a nice effort so far. And the first Melbourne player down on 20 possessions, Ed Langdon, Jake Bowie. So, yeah, well, you know, the top 6 are the Bombers, and then comes Melbourne. Cosy Pickett there on 18. He's having not too bad a game. I tell you what, I like the way he plays down there as well. 18 touches, 13 kicks, 5 handballs. He's kicked a couple. Jack Viney, a little bit quieter in that third term. Maxi Gorn's doing well. They're working hard, the big ruckman. 17 disposals. Always plays well, Maxi. 5 kicks, 12 handballs, a couple of marks, a couple of tackles, 40 hitouts, 7 clearances. He does well, the big man, I tell you. Maxi Gorn there for Melbourne. You know, some of your other stats there just at the moment. I tell you what, it's going to be a vital first goal. Who gets this? Who gets the first goal of the final quarter? Of course, we're only minute and 3/4 away before the bounce of the ball. We'll head back down to the ground in just a moment. But it could be the vital goal so far to start off the game of the final quarter. Who's going to get that? Will the first goal start the momentum flowing for the team, and will that team go on to victory? Tell you what, if with 16 points, if the Bombers get the first, get out to a 22-point lead, then they get the next 28. It's going to be hard for Melbourne and Ped back. But if Melbourne can get this next one, bring it back to 10 points, they'll give themselves a real sniff at victory here. That's what they've got to do. That Melbourne do need, I think it's just so important, vitally important, Melbourne get the opening goal of the 4th term here. Give themselves belief that they can get up there and run over the Bombers. All right, folks, let's head back down to the ground, and they'll take us into the bounce of the ball for the final quarter, where it's the Bombers by 16 points.
Changes at halftime and much better.
Yeah, but you've got to have a forward line that's prepared to move. If you don't move, the defence then takes the initiative away from you, and all of a sudden, 5 goals, 2 from 14 entries. This mark is unbelievable for Melcham, a 2-on-1 contested mark. But what happens in ahead of the footy? You're not going along the goals fair. You've got Van Rooyen coming this way. Pickett back. You'll see Spargo dart across. No defender can drop off there. Pickett then gets a 1-on-1, goes back and kicks the goal. That's one part of the ground.
Absolutely. Coupled with that, much better defence for Melbourne. So 18 times Essendon moved the ball from back half. Only twice did they make it inside 50s. Much better.
What about the Essendon side of things, Nick Del Santo?
It's been an amazing game and also a huge quarter by Zach Merritt, the Bombers captain. He had another 13 disposals and a couple of clearances to take his tally up to 30 disposals for the game. He's going to make his way to half forward, as Gary, as you mentioned during the game, playing a lot more half forward this year than he has probably previously.
I don't think he was under much more pressure that quarter, so only 20% he was kicking at.
We can't undersell how big this last quarter is for Melbourne. Chasing their first win of the season. Chandler, they're going to have to launch up half back. Bowie with the bounce. Now he goes to Salem and then further along the line to Finey. Back to Rivers. There's a moment of hesitation, and then the kick to the inside is taken to Oliver. So far, so good. Petrarca wanted the handball instinctively to Viney. Shoveled it to Salem. It's his responsibility. The kick was okay, but not good enough. Awesome tonight back there. The plaudits going the way of Reid. Jake Melcham, 114 games in Essendon, 6 seasons, 9 years at the D's. Now played more as a Melbourne player.
Got my wife in the crowd too. Feel a bit of tension in the air. Hello. Melbourne back into it.
It's hanging there as you're a Melbourne fan. Chandler had his arms taken, made do. Petrarca, we know what it means to him. We saw it on the siren last week. And at least they've been able to respond, but they didn't score a goal in the last quarter last week. In fact, their final terms have been horrendous so far this year. Draper taps it down. Rivers. Was never far away, but Viney to Oliver to Petrarca. Durham, hang on for dear life. Fridge, it's Rivers running.
He picked up Merritt, so he was the one that went to Merritt. Merritt started inside forward 50 and works his way up through the ground, and Rivers has got responsibility. Would have been a nice counter punch early.
20 disposals. Christian Petrarca still without a goal. Redmond. Where is he headed? Takes maximum risk out. Caddy striding out.
Potential commercial opportunities. I don't know if he,
Something in the last week has been.
if he keeps on the trajectory that he is. Stephen May got the job on the young forward.
Oh, that's gone out of the full. Caddy might hit the chatty. Here's the big man, Draper, had to carry a much bigger load than intended tonight in the ruck with the subbing off of Brian.
So Gord goes down the line now, so he'll be careful what he does here.
Cornered. He can make the simple rather difficult. That's the charm of it. He kicks it to Gorn. Again, Melbourne drop the mark at the death. Jones ready for it, Merritt. It got there in an instant. It's one-on-one. Oh, the danger man. Menzie.
The drop marks have been critical. That's the even made one before three-quarter time, and then this one by Max Gorn would normally eat it. And Menzies go back and kicks this.
Fantastic.
Difficult, yeah.
Body work from Menzies on Xavier Lindsay, the young fella, so isolate the matchup, bigger body, a couple more pre-seasons. 2 goals before this one.
Yeah, 5 times it kicked 2 goals. Another set that still wouldn't have made the distance. So pressure can arrive even if you're having a big night. Salem, there's sorts of risk involved in that. Petrarca is brought it. And he's hurt. And he's down. Let's hope he's okay in the history.
I'll guarantee you one thing, I know. They won't take any chances.
Be sure of that. Rivers back to the wing. He's staying out there for now. He might have to be involved in the play again because Essendon are coming, and it's Menzie again. Caddy is the focus to the front. It's Merritt. Menzie, a little warm-up, doesn't take it on. He's dropped the kick. Top of the square. Gresham will do the rest. The Bombers with the first and the last. How big is that?
Well, how good's Menzie been? He's been outstanding all night. Didn't kick the goal himself then, but followed the crumb up, and then that was a beautiful kick inside 50 or the pass to the top of the goal square. So just see this. So he rushes in, turns up to the next contest. Great follow-up here. Just gets left behind. The Melbourne player. That's the difference. He kept going when Melbourne player stopped.
Joy Menzie having an impact everywhere he goes at the moment. So he goes up high, finds the foot, he kicks it inside forward 50. In the end, if you're going to be uber critical, Christian Salem just got past the contest and was in front square, tried to anticipate where the ball was going to go, and his opponent got a hold of it. Petrarca stays out there. Doctor went out, had a chat with him, so you know, never make light of what happened to him last year, but clearly he seems okay.
Melbourne in last quarters, I alluded to it, 4 goals 9 to 21 goals 9 in final quarters this year. They simply have to put up more resistance.
A goal late in the quarter to Martin to get it to 16, and the first goal in the 4th quarter. Huge for the Bombers.
Out to 21. Draper stayed grounded. Petrarca was about to swoop and make the big escape, but free kick going to Oliver anyway. Fritz tells him to get it moving. Here's a head. He said, kick it long, kick it straight, give Penny a chance to fly. Ridley at the back. Fritz bearing down. Tackled him well. Whistle is quick. Melbourne can set up around here now. Can they maximise the pressure and make the most of their opportunities? They've laid plenty of tackles inside forward 50. Can they turn those tackles into goals when it matters?
The unbelievable thing is they've got 14-5 out of the centre and they've scored a solitary point from it. 14 centre bounce clearances they've won for the game and they've scored 1 point.
McGrath back on the watch with Cosy Pickett. Had to be one of their stars. Oliver Petrarca, who has missed it.
Great chase. What about the chase? Who was it there? I think it might have been, no surprise, Sam Durham. Just refused to give up on this. I know, for all intents and purposes, this is a goal. Look at Durham. Look at him. That's unbelievable.
And if you're going to lunge, hit him in the butt, and you don't get the free kick against you. That was brilliantly done. Hobbs to centre field, shake of the hips, and the Bombers come away. Al Hawley, Draper's going to come off.
What a moment that is for Sam Durham, though. I don't overstate it, but they have to take every opportunity they can, Melbourne, and he refused to give up on it.
Merritt's back. Merritt's going to have to fly here against Bowie. He sends it out. Well, it just looked like a goal was coming.
No, well,
everyone put the glasses down.
Everyone but Sam Durham thought that that's going to be a goal. Christian Petrarca running into an open goal 12 metres out, but everyone stepped in.
How significant would it have been to Oliver Petrarca to a goal? Instead, Essendon protecting their 20-point lead. Then Ryan heaves it back to the wing. Petty predicted where the ball would go next. He goes to ground though. Mackay had his way that time. Feeding it off to Ridley. Buying a bit more time to Redmond. From inside 50. Now the advance begins. Back to the wing. Here they go again, Durham and Petrarca. Bypasses and missed on Perkins. Charging forward, Merritt. Perfect handball to Durham. Can he set one up at the other end? Where's Kako? Menzies was there. And it's out.
Zach Merritt, 33 touches. Put inside 54 times. He says he and Durham through the middle, and Shield tonight has been willing. Martin's jumped on board.
They've been challenged by Melbourne. The challenge will continue. McDonald, Langdon. Essendon have the extra until Gawn arrived. Slapped it down. Jones trying to round it up. He overran it. Spargo pounced, but can he get out? Yes. There's the answer. He was slowed though. Hard running by Sharp across half forward. There is a way for Melbourne, but can they travel that path quick enough? No. Windsor puts the brakes on. Essendon get back.
Still go quick. Yeah, still go quick. You've got Max scoring one-on-one at the moment with Reid.
Stopping to get his breath back. He goes down to Gaunt. Test for Reid. Gaunt can't mark. Spargo lost his footing. Instant tackle. Applied on Melcham.
That player's the end of the ball.
That was strange.
Yeah, geez, it's on the scoreboard, 20 points down. Last quarter. Got to keep moving.
Sharp again. Roberts. The old scoreboard tells you the same as the new one. 20-point margin. Langford was over there for Melbourne, but it's Reid. It's going to be close to out on the full line. Merritt, I reckon, might have just got a fingertip to it. It's come off above the knee. So it's a little mini win.
Another great sign. Don't give up on it. Just Christian Petrarca sat and thought it was going to go out. He's put it inside 59 times tonight, Petrarca. That's his most since back in 2023. So some good signs. Getting back to it.
Gawn. Clear opportunity for him. Windsor invites the pressure back. Langford copped it. Gresham set Merritt up. May over the top of Perkins. Back for McDonald. 3 against him. Perkins turned is just slightly double grab. Lindsay comes away in the chain. And again, Essendon there to press and press hard.
Yeah, Gresham stood up then too. It's a part of his game that probably not renowned for, but stood up, put some big tackle pressure on. They're holding up well, the Bombers.
Still a lot of time in this final quarter. The solitary goal has been Essendon's. Langford right up against the chalk. Dale does what he needs to do.
So you've been able to exit stoppage well, Gaz. Even when Essendon have lost it, they've been able to turn up well and pressure. I think Brad will be really happy with that aspect of their game.
So during the week, he wants to make the Essendon supporters proud of them again.
Well, after that demolition job Adelaide put on them a few weeks ago, they gave up 160 points. It's been really big on that defensive side of the game. Limited Port Adelaide to 60 points, I think it was tonight. They've obviously been able to keep Melbourne to 51 points.
As usual, players appealing for deliberate. As long as it doesn't go out of the full, the ruck are allowed to do that.
They only had 36 inside 50s, Essendon, for the game. They scored 16 times from their entry, so just a touch under 50%, but that's low.
Just got away from Petrarca. Darren was already thinking creatively. Gresham changed the way out of defence, but it worked well for Roberts. Hobbs gave him that luxury and then just thought about it. Perkins is the deepest forward for Essendon. May playing him from a good 10 metres in front as Martin tries to size up the way to get it to him. With the onus is on Melbourne though, isn't it really?
Yeah, they don't have to panic here, the Bombers. They can do this, maintain possession, uncontested footy. They've got a spare in the back half. Can come again to Ridley.
That's where Mackay heads. Now Redmond.
So they've got to close up, Melbourne. They can't allow 3, 4, 5 minutes just of this sort of style of footy. They need the game in transition.
Goes to Darren. Sneaky little pass. That was a good one. He's going to switch and try and open up the angle from the front. This is Roberts. Open to offers. Still scouting the 50. Waiting for the right time.
Get in this man's hand as much as you possibly can in the last 10 minutes, last 12 minutes.
Look at Martin.
He's got to close up here. They set up across the ground for another couple of minutes of uncontested marking here.
And the end can come quick. Once there's 10 minutes or so to go. It's a low kick, a difficult one for the forwards. Not safe for the defenders. Windsor, he has run a good 20 metres. And he gets away with it, and maybe it's the rush of blood with the kick, with an easy escape. Rounded up by McGrath. Roberts looking to get it back to him. There's danger in the handball. McGrath, a very high fend. Goes unseen.
Yeah, well, the rush of blood from the Essendon player that kicked it inside 50 for the turnover, that's not on the game plan that they've got here. So this is back in the hands of the experienced ball users.
We're down to 11:35 and counting.
That's right, and they're 17-9 uncontested for the quarter.
Only 17 in the third quarter, guys.
Yeah, that's it. So close up. This is great from Essendon.
Well, we'll have to score at least 4 times. Al-Hurley. Thinking. Still thinking. He adapted well. Goes to Perkins. Swings and there's bombers everywhere. How did that happen? It's Hobbs.
Yeah, it's as good as it is for Essendon as it's poor for Melbourne. It's because you've got to identify where the game's at, how much time's left on the clock, and what it is that you can't afford to have happen. And what you can't afford to have happen is this uncontested mark game that Essendon deploy, because in the end, someone they're breaking concentration, and all of a sudden you've got 3 blokes inside forward 50.
So it's on the boot of Ben Hobbs.
Beautiful.
He's hit it well. Every reason to celebrate for Essendon. One of the youngsters coming through. Despite all the pressure and the magnitude of the moment, has given the Bombers what should be a match-winning buffer. It's a 26-point advantage.
Spot on, Hutto. He soaked up the pressure. Even though there's 10 minutes to go, he knew what was riding on this. So just have a look at this. As Gary said, keep building up the uncontested marks and keep asking the question of Melbourne's defensive setup. Eventually there's a break in concentration, and that shouldn't be allowed to happen. He drops it into the bucket nicely, takes a mark Hobbs, and then does his job for the team.
Now Hooley, composure, just to dance around and then just again find another uncontested target. And the Hobbs kick was superb. So 5 of the 6 goals Melbourne kicked in the third quarter, close to 10 points. They've answered with 3 unanswered goals, Essendon. Just really composed and settled.
2 goals for Hobbs.
Pickett goes to work, sliding it forward. McGrath now will be penalised for that. He overplays his hand.
So have a look at that. It's in the bottom corner of your screen. Last 10 minutes, 20-3 uncontested marks.
No time like The time right now for Spargo. Looks for Hanroyan. She'll out the back. Mackay. Oh, there's danger in that from Reed. Spargo with energy puts the tackle on.
He was going back for the flight too. Sam Barrett.
Yes, brave, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Looked like Van Rooyen was going to mark that footy and he just came back with it.
They've got some tough boys there. Hobbs just kicked that goal down. Cordwell when he comes back from the side. Merritt obviously sets a great example.
Draper comes through. Caddy had a good vantage point for that. At the last moment, McDonald. Bowie. Beautiful looking kick through flight, but able to be defended by Mackay. Again, Van Rooyen denied.
I think Mackay's had a really good night.
He's coming back. Yeah, he's absolutely all over Jacob Van Rooyen. He hasn't looked like it, Van Rooyen.
Back to Lindsay. Inside the last 10 now. Stephen May. He set the kick up, but Martin was willing and able. Scuppers that move forward, takes the mark.
Been pretty professional last 10 minutes here. Last couple of minutes of the third and the start of this last quarter. Brett's got to be really happy with what he's seeing here.
Quickly doused Melbourne's enthusiasm. D's trying what they can. Rivers with a soft touch on the kick. Just the requirement for Langdon, who's tried his heart out all night. Looking for a solution, looking for Fritsch, who rises. Sparrow in his 100th. Maybe they're not done yet.
Yeah, what about Raven? Got a Melbourne class. They've got a hell of a lot of movement, but eventually they made the most of the opportunity. Sparrow started the game on merit, but they dropped that tag quarter time just to try and free him up.
That went about 3.5 metres and kicked it in Langdon.
Cool play up there. But look at that. Got a lot of movement there, guys. The speculator in. Look, it goes to the hot spot, so it's the right area to put it. Take your chances there. Gets to a good spot there in Sparrow. Makes the most of the opportunity. They've just got to go. They've got to respond again. They're not respond. They need to kick another one straight away. Just to put the jitters into Essendon a little bit.
Well, their best chances right now, they're 15-5, centre bounce. Now, as we said or not, the issue is they've won 15 centre bounces for a point. So this is another thing they'll have to go to work at. You can't have a dominance like that and not turn it into some sort of scoreboard advantage.
The next one quite obviously needs to come quickly. Can they get it out of the middle? Gone to the outside. Perkins having a run in the square. Gets it forward. Kako and Salem. He was just about to burst away, but Salem keeping watch did well. To Windsor, it's a rush kick, but a good one. The reach from Gaul, the urge is to go now. Has to make it the right call, though. The arms are waving on the outer side.
Draper back in the hole, didn't want to go down the line. Got to keep the ball in motion here.
Lindsay up to Sparrow. So far, so good. Langdon running the flanks. Gets it deep. Petty versus Draper.
I didn't see one Melbourne player hit over the ball carrier then. So you've got Draper sitting in the hole, and they need to be aware of that. The ball user, but also the forwards didn't give Langdon an option.
Redmond.
And now you know what they're going to slip into here. So let's just see whether Melbourne can react. Just going to have to push up and defend.
That's top 15, even though it was twice as far as the other one. Ridley spears it to Reed. He's happy to play the waiting game some more. Spots Kako. And Hurley moves one way. Merritt unlikely marking target, but he made it. He's Arden. What a leader he's become. Leads are coming. Caddy going one way, tucks it into the pocket. Instead, the hot hand, the hottest of hands. Menzie.
It's a good kick too, wasn't it? But Menzie did well, and he probably kicked this the way he's going tonight.
Is anyone in better form than that man, Zach Brown? I know he hasn't played as much footy as quite a few others, but he's in rare touch.
And this man, John Menzie, as we said already, a career night in his home state. Tried to do the team thing. Kako trying to do a bit of wild arms action there.
When you're running a hot hand, you just go back and bang it through, aren't they? It's your night.
Yep.
See how brave you can be with the ball. Time on the clock's against you, 6.5 minutes.
Rivers. Careful from Sparrow to pick it. He's a long way from goal, which will make Essendon fans happy, I suspect. But he might get a little closer now with thanks to Petrarca. He has kicked it straight back to the opposition. It was a nothing kick, unfortunately. Would lead to Al-Hula. Just over 6 minutes remaining. Just looking to calm the proverbial. Al-Hula again, he waits for the last possible moment to kick down the line. Jones Corn just strolls in.
It was a great battle, Draper and Gorn. They're both 21 disposed now for Gorn, 19 for Draper.
Setterfield predicted what was to come. Safely to Caddy.
Well, that's what happens when you push. You didn't push too hard. Just go back and kick the goal, young man. Take the 30 seconds off the clock and put it through goalpost side. But Big Max hung it up in the air for far too long. But when you're behind in that manner, you've got to take a couple of risks. Zach Merritt's got the most Brownlow votes of any player from Essendon. Took over from James Hurd. I'll tell you what, if he hasn't got, how many games they played now? 4. If he hasn't got close to 10 or 12 this year.
For a second on the night. And to say good night to the Demons.
Geez, that's a great sign, mate. Caddy goes back and kicks that goal like Hobbs did about 5 minutes ago when Melbourne are pushing, trying to get back into the game. You can soak up that pressure. That's a great sign. Caddy hasn't had the biggest night, but he's flown, he's competed, he's kept working hard ahead of the ball. And this is his opportunity to go back and contribute on the scoreboard. He does and just snuffs out any hope of Melbourne.
Heads up from centre field, wasn't it? So you got to, again, it's all part of being, having your head in the game. So what's happening here? How can Melbourne? Oh, they're going to take risks. Okay, they're going to take risks. I've got to be aware of it. All of a sudden, Max swings on something he wouldn't normally do, and hangs it up in the middle of the ground, and the turnover's there. Caddy kicks a goal. Been impressive. The Bombers here in this, when they needed to be, and they challenged. They got to 10 points. They've kicked 4 of the next 5 goals.
Mathematically still possible for Melbourne, but a few of their fans have headed for the exit. Perkins pokes it. Dowie takes it very wide. Sharp trying to power on, but Price sticks at it. All the worries in the world. That man Simon Goodwin.
He just needs to look up at the big scoreboard here and see 8 goals again. But just in the modern game, it just doesn't cut it.
Pretty
And
sure
you've
he
got to be
wouldn't be
close to
looking.
100.
Yeah, well,
No, it's just that's the issue.
5 came in the third quarter, Brown.
Yeah. You can't score in the modern game. You can't be regularly hitting 100 points. You're just not going to challenge the back end of the year. It's just becoming a pattern now, isn't it?
A tough night for him in his home state. Ex-superstar with the Adelaide Crows. Hobbs certainly played his part with a couple of goals. Out on the foot.
Interesting to see how Stephen May pulls up when it all cools down as well. We looked to be in a fair bit of trouble in that first quarter. Stayed out there, pretty courageous.
Oh, but Draper with another juggler. He's an entertainment package, that's for sure.
The midfield battle, guys, and obviously Brad Scott spoke about the need to build that midfield together, younger midfield, get some toughness and resilience there, coming up against the premiership midfield, and have scored more from stoppage than Melbourne tonight. It's really good signs there. No Caldwell has been a good player for them.
Dersma wading through, got it to Durham. They want more of the Bombers. Gresham, Dersma on the overlap. Just need a little bit of caco. Not to be. Maybe it is. Gets the handball away to Dersma. And Hooley waiting ahead of the play. Redmond knew when to turn to see off Petty. And Hooley comes up. Didn't quite get it right that time. Fritz with the tackle. We're down to 350.
He's going to be an entertaining prospect to call Al Hooley throughout the course of his career, I think. It's going to be a bit unconventional.
Yeah, unpredictable. He's had to work hard, had to go up wherever he didn't make things happen there, to the Northern Bullets. And Preston got his chance in the mid-season draft, which has been the way for so many players, which is great to see. Salem back down the line. Redmond's played an excellent game. So that's against Petty. Still with the injury to Brian coming off the ground. Essendon having a look at one ruckman. Not sure how serious that injury is, obviously, but whether they'll think about those going forward.
Ben Mackay, big tick.
Yep.
Who's, for some reason, comes under some pressure from Essendon fans. Not sure there's what you're talking about. This happened very early in the match. Nick Bryan, it's been their preference to have the two big fellas. It's great, but it's been a goal kicker, so it's been able to work.
Yeah, he's not working with plenty of potential, so he's getting the opportunity, but let's hope that's not too serious. Durham still labouring away in the heart of the contest.
It is impressive. I know you can get fixated on players, but every time you see him, he plays at one speed and one speed only, and never deviates.
Giants under the Rivers tackle. So what's going through the head now? Those old heads of Melbourne, do you think? Max Gordon, Christian Petrarca, he's 29 years of age now. Saw his emotion on the siren last week. He dug in this third quarter, but unfortunately in the fourth they've been overrun again.
Yes, well, they've, Brownie's hit the nail on the head. Save for a period in the third quarter. But well, that's what they're going to go to work on, is what happened in that third quarter where they kicked 5 goals from their entries. What did that look like? They structured up a bit differently, but the rest of it's been dismally familiar.
Rivers. Pickett looking to push and prod and get clear. McGrath eyes for the footy. Martin manhandled Pickett, such was the danger he always provides, and because he's a bit frustrated there.
Jacob Amroyn's an issue for them. He's still a young forward, so he's got time, but he looks sadly out of sorts. So whether they persist with him, whether they maybe move him to the back half for a while and give him a look down there, but he's sort of on train tracks and can't get a look at it.
Go on.
I don't think Brownie, and this is another point, I don't think playing him in the ruck helps him either. Just when you haven't quite developed your own craft.
Yeah, it's more for the older.
The Joe Danaher
situation where it's later in the career, they've obviously built that craft up forward of the ball, and it's certainly a challenge. And look, it's the chicken and the egg. It's what goes on ahead of the ball certainly contributes to the efficiency, but also what are the midfielders doing? How they bring the ball inside? They've got to get over that better with their decision making, the skill execution. Experience means that.
There's so much growth in Essendon, isn't there? Archie Perkins is another one. He's played enough footy now as he can be impactful.
There's a whole heap of them. Roberts falls into that category. You've got Zach Reed who gets better when you see every time you see him play. Hobbs look good. Xavier Dersman's footy's been pretty good.
Merritt wants a screen. That's probably one thing he's unlikely to do. Tried to curl the kick. Length of beaten to it by Perkins. Merritt was just sneaking forward after that, see if he could get himself a little treat late in the night.
Kako and Caddy, and that's a pretty healthy turnout.
Well, 45,000 enjoying the sights and sounds of the Adelaide Oval in Gather Round. Super Saturday on Fox Footy.
Appreciate it tonight too. It's been a hot day here. I came for the first half of Carlton West Coast. It's very hot there. The boys would have the sunscreen on.
It's very dedicated of you, Brandon.
Well, I left it half time because of the quality of the games. So this is been better tonight. I think the Bulldogs Lions game was probably the pick of them from a standard point of view.
No doubt about that. Great win for you boys. Free kick to Langford here on the wing. Petrarca, Hobbs. Bounce off half back again, but turn straight over then. Langford trying to get the go ahead. Gresham, still the appetite. There's Perkins ahead and there's Kako. Whatever it takes to get it forward to the trap.
Really are at the stage where Goody needs to grab that third quarter. And they just need to study that all week and just reinforce, we've got it within us. Yeah, we can do this.
I think the other,
we just haven't seen enough of it.
Really telling stat is that centre bounce stuff, Brownie. If you're winning whatever it is for 16 centre bounces and you score 1 point from it, that talks to what sort of structure you've got to have the footy. It also talks to this defensive six of Essendon, of which Zach Reed's one of them. of how well they've held up. So Mackay's been great, Redmond's been great. So we're not taking anything away from them. But you've got to be better than 1 point.
Brilliant build-up. The hands were great, and Redmond's kick is spectacular. It's a Bombers night at the Adelaide Oval, and Mason Redmond back in South Australia and back at his best. The Bombers starting to fly up just a little.
That was the best ball movement of the night. We didn't certainly see that in the third quarter, but how good's that? That's what they're capable of. They can move the ball. Coming into the game tonight, Gaz, as much as they've been scored against, certainly earlier on in the season, have a look at the run, Redmond. They can do this. They move as well as any team in the competition. You've got to finish it like that. What a beautiful hit.
On cue from the back half. We just talked about how good they've been all night. They've absorbed 51 inside 50s, given up only 8. Now they've done this. He started it. Mason Redmond started it inside their own defensive 50, and he's just banked that from outside 50 as well. Caps off a big night.
Bombers leading by 33 points now. Still full of running. Roberts, there might be one more to come. Guess who? Why not make it 4? Menzie runs into the open goal. Essendon put their rough start to the season behind them. Square the ledger at the Adelaide Oval. And their fans gather around to celebrate. And for Melbourne, the hole gets a little deeper as they go 0-5.
Really impressive. Really impressive. They were challenged. I think this is what makes the win even more impressive. So they were challenged in the third quarter. Melbourne had kicked 5 or 6 goals. They got it to 10 points, and you thought, oh, is this the moment here? And they steadied. They kicked the last goal of the third quarter. They've come back out here and kicked 5 of the last 6. It's a sign of a good side. The opposition is the opposition. They've won a game, so they're important the minute. But you can only beat what's in front of you that round in. I think they were really impressive. The way they burnt the clock there for a period of time, and they look like they're well coached. We know they're well coached. And they've come away with a really good victory. Let's head down to Nicky now.
Down here at ground level with Zach. It's always a huge build-up for the other round. Saturday night, 2 teams trying to find their way this year. How do you feel? Must be true.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I thought we played a really good brand of footy. It feels weird to start the season. I think there's a lot of ebbs and flows in games and momentum, and we certainly took a lot out of that Adelaide game. They touched us that a little bit off and got exposed, and to get a bye early in the season was great to get to work in our game. We tried to use it as an advantage, albeit we lost the game to a cyclone and then a bye, so it's been an indifferent start, but all the boys are trying to buy in and get better at team defence. The last 2 weeks has been a better example.
There is going to be a storyline this week about the inefficiency of the D's going forward. How much do you think that was actually your defence that minimised their opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, it's a balance. So we talked about during the week, they still had 15 premiership players in their team tonight. I think we had 1 guy or 2 guys who have won finals footy. So, great exposure for us to play against some really high quality players out there in all lines, to be honest. They've got some really high quality players. So, start with the 4 points, 6 days, get home, recover, back to Perth and go again.
There's been a lot said about those first couple of weeks and the scores that you gave up. You get the week off last week. How much was that based on your team defence just to really tidy that up to make it a winning formula?
Yeah, I mean, I think 99% defence and 1% offence. No, we knew that it's on these small margins, and in this game, it's so dynamic at the start of the season that if you get exposure in the contest, it's really hard to defend the ground. But we're still scoring 100 points in those games, so it's a bit of a weird feeling that you get exposed and also you're scoring pretty easily. But we focused a lot on the defence, trying to get real clarity so you can give maximum effort. I thought that was really good tonight.
I know you're a humble guy, but I'm going to ask you about your own form. You've been as in good a form as anybody in the competition. Where do you see yourself at the moment, and is there any more left in you?
Yeah, I mixed up the pre-season, trained a lot as a back actually to start the pre-season, and then got kicked out of there. I mustn't have been defending well enough and went forward, and then I think as we bring on these next level of players, Hobbs was really good tonight, give more exposure to guys like Corbo who's injured, but guys are stepping up, and I'm playing a lot more forward this year, which I'm really enjoying with the young forward line and trying to help them as much as possible. But I feel like guys play their role so well and allow me to play my role as well at a really high level. So I'm loving footy at the moment and excited for 6 days' time.
And we're loving watching you. Well done. Another great performance.
Stuff down. What a performance from Zach Merritt. What a start to the season he's had. He was all deep and ball just a few weeks ago, wasn't it, with Essendon?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Look at those stats. Amazing. So, 30 disposals and 8+ score involvements at Essendon since 99. It's happened 49 times. Astonishing. So, yeah, what a great leader he's been in. Really loving the fact they're building this young midfield really well. Another man that's dominated great job, Menzies with Nick Dawson.
I sure am, Brownie. Joy, we were commentating all day about it was just one of those nights where you just felt like it was going right. Did it feel like that?
No, I feel good. I think I think everyone's going to say the same thing. It's based off the team. They got me a lot of the goals. We had 2 weeks off, so we did a lot of work as a team, and yeah, it's paid off tonight. So
Just speaking to Zach Merritt about the emphasis on team defence. Now, quite often in the role that you play, we hear you got to keep the ball in the front half, and it's about defence. But how nice is it to get on the scoreboard as well?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as Zach probably touched on, we had a big emphasis on that the last 2 weeks. So it's good to see some results, and yeah, let's take it on to next week.
Not sure if you noticed, but you lost your ruckman within the first quarter or so. How much did that disrupt the rotations, or just work as usual?
Yeah, absolutely. Bristol, or big grind for us, he's massive. So we go in as a team focus. So if one goes down, someone else pops up. So yeah, we just get it done.
What is your focus individually? What's Brad Scott and the forwards coach saying that your job must be every single week?
It's just tackles, pressure, running my patterns, just a typical half-forward role. So if I can nail that, then the team's going to go all right, hopefully.
Well, I think you did all of those tonight, so tick, tick, tick. Well done. Great performance.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
He only kicked 3 goals last year in 14 games, and he's kicked 4 in one night. So
He deserves the jumper upgrade, Adam.
Yes.
That you alluded to earlier too. I thought he was great. Got up high. These are the roles in modern footy that have become so important, and he's fulfilled it really well today.
Those both players, Zach Merritt and John Menzies, spoke about the defensive side. The defensive aspect, that's making no topic from Adelaide. It's clearly been a big focus. So, what's the biggest story? Melbourne's not being able to score, or the fact that Essendon can restrict them to that score?
it's a good question. They have the West Coast as you allude to, so really on form they should go 3 and 2. And who knows where that goes? It's going to be a big Anzac Day, that's for sure, which they can do the business.
That will be massive, right? So they'll get more confidence in all they play in that manner, and Mittens brings confidence with it. This man's going to be exciting. They got a lot to work with. He called that through the last quarter. They've got some young talent there that's going to excite Essendon fans for a while. They've still got a lot of work to do. I mean, they did show, like all sides, you can be susceptible when you get put under a little bit of pressure, but they only probably felt that really for 20 minutes tonight, didn't they? The rest of it was, I would imagine, pretty comfortable for them, which is an indictment on the opposition at the end of the day. But this is about the Bombers. It's a 39-point victory, a solid one. I'll just reiterate, they were 10 points down. 10 points in front with probably 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. They bounced hard.
It's a return, is it? Still feeling it. Caldwell, as we said, Amy Edwards unfortunately has done his knees out for the season.
Take them when you can get them, right? Dylan Shield, how good was he in that first half particularly? So they got themselves into some pretty good form.
Brad Scott, a smart man. He's talking to the president after a win. Always clever. We've got a bar in return. But they're gathering round to sing the song. After a 39-point win, they go to 2-2 on the season.
Welcome to Super Saturday Live on Fox, the Saturday.
All right, folks, there we go. It was the Bombers who ran away with this game, kicking 5 goals, 1 in that final term. Melbourne could only put on 1 goal too. Melbourne. What do you say? What do you say about Melbourne? Well, they're going to go back to the drawing board. They're going to have a hard, good look at themselves. They're going to look at another review and see what's going on there. They probably put in 10 good minutes in that third term, or that second term. That's about it. That's about it. Anyway, another good victory to the Bombers. Finally get off with a win. Have a bit of a look here. Let me just try and see if this is updated. Just want to see where they are on the ladder. Essendon, there we go. Oh, they've played 4. That's right, they've played 4 because they're still, I think Essendon and Gold Coast have still got that game that they didn't play because of the cyclone up there in Brisbane. They've played 4, 1-2, lost 2, 90%. Of course, Melbourne 5 and zip, still unable to score a win this season. Doesn't look like they're going to win one all too soon. Let's just have a quick look at the player stats, etc. before we head off. The goal scorers: Jai McKenzie topped the table with 4 goals for the Bombers. Ben Hobbs with 2, Nate Caddy with 2, Dylan Shield, Mason Redmond, Archie Perkins, Nick Martin. There was another one there. Jake Gresham and Xavier Dersma were the single goal scorers for the Bombers. Of course, for Melbourne, Kaiser Pickett, Bailey Fritsch got 2 each, and of course singles to Sparrow, Harry Sharp, Harrison Petty, Ed Langdon, and that was all. That was all. There you goal scorers. There we go. Zachy Merritt, well clear on the disposal count for this evening. 38. Only reached the magical 40, but he ended up with 38, 15 kicks, 23 handballs, 8 marks, 5 tackles, 2 clearances and a behind. Another good game. Dylan Shield was fantastic up until half time. Sort of a little bit quiet in the second half, but it was a good game. 30 disposals, 12 and 18. Kicked a sausage roll. Well done. Christian Petrarca came into the game nicely in the end, though. So hopefully he'll take that bit of that form into next week. 27 touches for Petrarca, so that was pretty good. Kaiser Pickett, not too bad again. 23 touches there for Melbourne. So we keep on going down. Sam Drake, Maxi Gawn actually, the big ruckman for Melbourne. 22. He always plays a good game, Maxi Gawn. Tries his hard out. 22 touches. He had 50 hitouts, 8 clearances. Can't do much more than that, Maxi. You just need the cattle around you to continue on and help you out there. But they are your player stats, folks. If you're just having a look, you can have a little bit of a look there. Bailey Fritsch, he tried reasonably hard, but he was well held tonight. Just a 10 possession, 6 kicks, 2 goals there. Just a quick look at the team stats. We'll see the Bombers should be in front on a fair bit of this. 90 disposals up, 40 kicks, 50 handballs. Inside 50s, though, was a little bit, a little bit imbalanced. It was actually Melbourne inside 50, 51 times, Essendon 43 times. 21 scoring shots for Essendon's 43, and of course 17 scoring shots for Melbourne's 51. Just not enough there for Melbourne. Free kicks, 17-13, plus 4. All the free kicks were there. Wasn't too bad. The hit-outs, Melbourne end up winning that. Maxi Gawn did a good job there. And won that by 26. Clearance is pretty tight. Centre clearances, Melbourne actually came out on top there by 9. Stoppage clearances, not much in that, just plus 7. Contested, pretty even. It was 70-odd uncontested, said Melbourne. Essendon certainly controlled the game for most of the game there. Marks there, about 20 plus 2 Melbourne. Marks inside 50, 8-15. So Essendon found the target a lot more up there, which is good to see. Melbourne got a few of these in the third term, and they finally created a little bit of space. They gave their forwards the room to move, but it was all Essendon in that aspect. And the tackles, which you want to have a bit of a look at, 54-57, only 3 tackles a difference, but the tackles inside 50, Melbourne 14, Essendon 4. There you go. Final score, 15-6-96, the Bombers, Melbourne 8-9-57. The Bombers by 39. And, of course, the poll got it right tonight. 70% tipping Essendon. There we go. There we go. Anyway, thanks all for coming in. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks, Chia. Tine Bim Bim. Thanks, Chia, for becoming a member. We appreciate that. Certainly do. Gillig now. Shut up. But there we go. Another great game. All right, folks. Tomorrow we got 3 more games. 3 more games to round out round 5 football action. And, of course, that all kicks off 12:35 p.m. tomorrow. Should be a reasonably interesting game. Richmond, Fremantle making the journey over. Should be a good game. The young Tigers side coming up against Freo, who finally found victory last week. Of course, the next following game after that, 3:20 p.m. Melbourne time, St Kilda taking on the West Coast Eagles. St Kilda taking on the GWS Giants. There we go. The GWS Giants, St Kilda. That should be a great game. Both teams in form. Certainly should be the game of the day tomorrow. And of course, rounding out round 5, we've got Port Adelaide, a home team, taking on the might of Hawthorn, who are sizzling at the moment. Port, not in good form, but playing at home. They'll want to perform well for their home crowd, that is for sure. My tips for tomorrow, of course, will be Fremantle. Well, Fremantle, I think St Kilda might cause a boil over, and Hawthorn. They're my 3 for tomorrow. But it was another interesting game there tonight. Look, it was it wasn't the best spectacle of a game, but it certainly did look better at the 3/4 time when the margin was only 16 points. But the Bombers just ran away with it in that final term. Just all too good on the night. All right, folks, that's me. I'm over now. Thanks everyone for joining in on the live coverage of the football today. All the games that we covered today. It was pretty good. Don't forget the victors from today. The victors from today were Carlton over West Coast. The Brisbane Lions defeated the Western Bulldogs. And, of course, the Bombers defeating Melbourne. All right, folks. That's it. I'm over. I'm out. We'll see you next time. So, ciao for now, everyone. Thanks for coming. Au revoir. There we go. What? Bet cola or coffee? What are you talking about, Lang? Anyway, thanks, folks. Ciao for now. We'll see you the next game.